Oh, I guess I should fill this out, but I don't even know where to start. Do this. There. Alright. That. I feel like I watched some movies as well. I don't remember them though. Oh right. Whiplash was one.
I keep a notepad on my desk that I write down this stuff.
Do you?
So like just type it out into the document. Yeah. It's one of those I'm using one of those Blizzard notepads that they've stuck in there.
Nice. Hey Meowth, how's it going? My throat's a little bit sore, so this should be interesting. I hope the coffee helps. Their commentating was pretty good too. I was pleasantly surprised.
Like they didn't feel it's like they had the advantage of actually being interested in the game where it's like bad commentary always feels super phony.
Yeah, it does. And they have a rapport with each other too. Like they know each other quite well, so that helps. Even though they said absolutely a lot of times to the point where the chat started making fun of them every time. But I mean, chats are chats. So
chats are chats.
Yeah, they are. They will find one thing that is quirky and they will pick at that until you fall apart. They will find the thread and pick.
They're like high school students.
Honestly, kind of. Kind of. Fucking throat, man. This is terrible. Why does bad stuff happen to great people?
Luck of the draw.
Oh, yeah.
Because life is shit and then you die.
Let's all go get high. Probably shouldn't get high. No drugs.
No drugs.
Shouldn't do drugs. No matter how delicious they are.
Caffeine is a drug. I do that one.
I do that one a lot, too.
Ibuprofen sometimes.
I don't do ibuprofen, actually. When I have headaches, I do the dumb thing and just try to sleep it off.
That's what I used to do. And then it's like, if I just take one ibuprofen,
it helps.
Life will be so much better.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
Getting high on the ibuprofen.
It's not really a getting high thing.
I don't know, man. You just said yourself that your life would be so much easier if you just took some ibuprofen.
Occasionally.
Oh. Okay.
I feel that way. Like, on a normal day, that wouldn't help me at all. Wouldn't make a difference.
That's what you think. Have you ever gone a day without taking it?
Yes.
Oh.
I didn't take any today.
And you're doing okay today?
Yep.
Okay, maybe you're not an addict then. What do I know? I'm sipping my coffee. Trying to get that warm gooiness to coat my throat. I don't like that I'm getting sick. It's pissing me off.
I mean, Other people that are like, yes, I'm getting sick. Yes. Yes.
I hate it because it's not like I can take a day off work. I still need to have money to live. So it's like it just makes my life harder. So instead of being able to just take a day off work, I have to go in with a handicap, basically, of not being able to, like, focus properly easily. So I'm not about being sick at all. I used to love it when I was going to school, though. Taking a day off school and, like, playing StarCraft. I did that a lot. A lot of StarCraft.
I played Final Fantasy VIII when I was home sick.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I didn't really have a good time, though.
I watched Men in Black a lot when I was sick. That was my sick movie. That movie's great, but it's way too short.
Problem with being sick and staying home from school is then you feel sick, so you don't get to enjoy being home from school if you're, like, really sick.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Got the show on the road in 2 seconds here.
All right.
Excuse me.
All right, the other thing I wanted to talk about. Just write that down.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Burning Barrel podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Paul, and with me is Hank.
Hello.
Hey, it's been 2 weeks since you last heard from us. So this is going to be kind of a shit show of stuff to talk about. There's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. So that should be interesting. I think it looks like it's all coming from your side, though.
Yeah, I did a lot. Also, I think it's been 3. I think we missed 2 weeks, so it's been 3 weeks.
We missed 2 for sure. Yeah, what was the third week then?
No, I mean it's been 3 weeks since the last.
Oh, yes,
because we missed 2.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Math.
Math is pretty great, I guess. It was my favorite subject in school, actually. One of them.
It sure was mine.
Yeah. What was your least favorite?
Whatever bullshit class that didn't matter I had to take.
Gym?
I liked gym in middle school, but the problem was in high school, gym was like, you wasted so much time having to change, and then we just had to run in a circle. Like, we didn't get to play stuff and have fun. We, like, had to do stretching and push-ups, and then we had written tests in my gym class in high school.
That's weird.
For some reason. And the difficult part of them was that the questions would be so poorly worded grammatically, you couldn't tell what they were asking a lot of the time.
Huh. Like, give me an example. Give me a question.
What is it called when the ball comes off the rim in basketball?
Oh, okay.
It's like,
wait a minute.
and I think it wasn't rebound. I don't know what the answer. I don't remember what the answer was. It was fucking garbage ass bullshit.
I find it funny that you had to do written tests in gym.
Yep, we had a gym final.
Classy.
It was dumb.
I hated gym.
We had to write papers. We had to write papers for gym too.
That's
five
dumb.
5-paragraph essays.
But what?
And then the teacher was too lazy to grade them, so they would hand them to other students and to evaluate them.
Are you fucking serious?
Because they didn't matter.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
I started writing some hilarious bullshit for those.
And like
Just
you still
fucking
got good marks on it, probably.
because all that mattered was you had to have 5 paragraphs, 5 sentences each.
Why would they make you do that? I don't get it.
It was the dumbest thing because high school is dumb.
High school is dumb. You don't learn anything in high school that you use in real life. Except,
No,
like, the
well,
social
actually,
interactions.
that kind of class was kind of the one I learned the most because it was the class where it taught me to just have to put up with bullshit, which is like the
Sure.
most important thing you have to learn in high school about real life. So,
It's kind of true, actually, yeah. If you're a patient person in high school, you're probably going to be pretty good in life.
hmm
Just get through it. That's not what we're regularly here to talk about, though. I don't know how
no,
we started talking about that shit, but... Oh, God, I just looked at your list again. There is so much stuff to discuss. Let's start off with Rising Thunder, because I played
okay,
a little bit of this with you, not with you, but like as well as you,
yeah,
and I don't like it at all. It is not what I go to a fighting game for myself.
it's fair enough. So, in theory, what I liked about it is so the basic thing is instead of having moves that require special inputs, you just have 3 dedicated buttons that do a special move that's then on a cooldown.
Right.
So then you don't have to learn a move list. You just have to figure out what these 3 buttons do and then get to that sort of meat and potatoes stuff of fighting games, of like mind games and putting them together. Well, the problem I actually have come to this as I've played it more is the games, when people get good, every game is the same. Like
Oh.
there isn't enough variety. The players that have gotten good at that game make it not fun at all because they just do the same shit every time, and you're like, this is not interesting.
And you just like can't counter it or whatever.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
It's
So
weird because, yeah, the way it's set up, it's kind of like if you play an MMO of some sort with a global cooldown after every ability. You kind of like learn a rotation for your character rather than actual move sets.
yes,
And it's kind like it's easier, so there's probably a lower bar for people to be really good at it, just maybe time. Like they have more time than you to put into it to get better at it. What I don't like about it though is that the thing I like about fighting games are the different types of moves and how you can combo them together, and seeing people that are at a high level be able to pull off a lot of these like move sets together like as if they were on one button.
hmm
I don't necessarily like that anybody can just like learn a rotation just because they have time and then be better than you, sort of thing.
That's fair. I mean, I just thought this was interesting. Like, how do you stand out as a fighting game these days? There have been so many, and
Sure.
they blend together so much. If you're not like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or like an established thing, so I thought it
Sure.
was interesting. The more I've played it, the less into it I've been. But it's super early access. It's super early. It's like an alpha right now, technically, I think. So it might change at some point and get better.
I hope so.
Yep.
I hope they add some stuff to it, because like the idea isn't necessarily bad. It just felt lacking to me in a lot of ways. So
Yeah.
who knows?
There's much less to learn than a normal fighting game.
Yeah, for sure. You played Dragon Age, huh?
I played a lot of Dragon Age. I played like 20 hours of Dragon Age.
Holy shit! I had no idea.
Yeah, so I played. So the second piece of DLC just came out called The Descent, and right before that came out, they put the last piece of DLC, Jaws of Hakon, on sale. So I finally picked that up because I'd been looking at it. And both of those pieces of DLC are basically they give you one new big area to go through that has its own storyline.
And how was it?
They were both good. Like I
Okay.
liked both of them. Jaws of Hakon, you're in. I think it's like the southwest of Orlais. Like it's the forget the tribe, but it's like tribal stuff, and you're in sort of a foresty area.
Okay.
And they have you eventually are fighting like their god of war that's been bound into a dragon.
Named Hakon.
Yeah, that's no. The god is named Hakon,
Yeah.
not the yeah. And then so the evil tribe is like worships Hakon, and then the good tribe has this spirit bear that you eventually rescue.
Okay.
And there's a funny you get to judge the bear at one point at the end because the bear should have killed itself rather than being taken hostage and having its spirit put in a thing.
You get to judge it.
Yeah, like you get to sit on your throne and pass judgment like you can in the main game.
That's pretty good.
And I had it. I made him serve the Inquisition.
Yeah, might as well. Like, why not?
Yep.
He's a bear.
Mm-hmm.
I like bears.
Bears are cool. So that was fun. So that was like a good area, and I just like did all the stuff in it. And then the second piece of DLC, the Descent, is there are these earthquakes in the deep roads, and you go into the deep roads to figure out what the hell is causing it.
I kind of hate the deep roads, though. So how did they do it? Was it okay?
It was a much so this was like a very long linear thing more where it wasn't like a big open forest area. It was just sort of like a long you're like progressing forward in this area
Right.
sort of thing. But you get these two dwarf characters that are going along with you in it who are kind of cool. You eventually it's about finding a titan, just like the thing that shaped the earth. It's part of the dwarf mythology stuff.
Mm.
So that stuff was good. It was fun. The thing I really like about Inquisition is how much it's like we have this big setup of the Inquisition, so we can just put you and you go on a little adventure with your friends, and it's just cool. Like
Yeah. It's
like
kind of what like I wish they did with Mass Effect 2 or something. After you build your party, if you could just go on to like you have your party, and instead of going into a suicide mission, you're just kind of like space pirates now taking jobs or something.
yeah, like the way Dragon Age Inquisition ends sets this up really well. Like it wasn't a great ending necessarily, but it just allows you to tell more stories with these characters, like as many as you want. Really, it's just
Yeah.
going on doing more stuff.
Yeah. No, that's good.
I really like that game, and I've spent like 90 hours in it now.
That's a lot of time.
Yep.
So you recommend the DLC?
Yeah, the DLC's good if you just want to play more of that game and you were looking for a reason to. Those storylines are they got enough hooks to keep you going through the whole thing.
Okay. Cool.
And then it also gave me I did like a little more of other missions and stuff in the main game that I hadn't done just because I was playing it.
Sure.
I think like between finishing Hack-On and then like the couple days before the Descent came out. So that was fun.
Yeah. Another fun thing that happened is we tried Skyforge together.
Yes.
And I talked a little bit about this on TDP. I think it'll be a little bit easier since you're able to like understand what I'm talking about here with stuff and maybe explain stuff a little bit better. That game is really, really, really fun mechanically, but I don't like how their payment system is, their model, at all.
No, the having to grind for materials is not great because the amount you're going to be getting when you don't have premium sucks, and their model for buying premium also seems to suck.
I can't actually even buy premium. That doesn't load for me. That page.
Great.
And I'm wondering if it's because I'm Canadian, like in Canada.
Maybe.
Which is hilarious, if that's
would
true.
Be hilarious.
I should ask Steven next time he's around, if he can, because he lives here too, so.
Yeah, that's crazy, because like theoretically you're supposed to be able to buy that with like the in-game currency too.
Yeah.
Just a shit ton of it. But
And
Yeah.
I can't buy the in-game currency with real money. They're not letting me. So, I don't know. As I was saying...
Actually, the thing I did like, it was like, that I really liked was that it lets you test out all the classes in those, like that training module thing.
Yeah.
So then I at least got to see what all the classes are.
Yes.
Like I got to see what that game has to offer, really, in a way I might not have been able to with other games.
I actually like how they do it that way, because they introduce you to the concept slowly, only giving you 3 classes to choose from, and at first it's almost kind of like oh, this is kind of lame. There's only like 3 classes to choose from. I guess this is why it's free to play, hardy her, or whatever. And then you're just like, you get into the groove of it, and then when you really feel like, okay, I know what I'm doing, and I know how to play this because I played it for about 3 hours, it just expands into this huge fucking thing with, I'm trying to think here, 4 on that side, I think. Or was it 5? No, I think it's 4 on each side, and then the 2. Like 10 other classes after that, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. A lot of other classes.
Yeah, so a lot of classes unlock. Your leveling up tree system thing opens up completely, and it's daunting as fuck, and you realize how many gems or stones or whatever the hell they're called you need.
Like, they kind of have to let you test out those classes, because the amount of grinding it takes to get to any one of them is a lot.
It's gonna be crazy for sure. The way they gate you off in this game too, I didn't explain this before, is something called, was it karma? Or
yes,
it is karma points, right?
Yeah, karma points.
Okay, so yeah, karma points. Basically, it's almost like renown or something. Like it's an arbitrary system that goes up every time you improve your character, because there's no actual leveling up in this game. There's no like I'm level 10 to your level 15 or whatever. It's all based on your karma points. So
yes.
That's how they gate shit off too, though. Some missions you need a specific karma level to get into. It's weird. It's a weird system they got.
Like, so everything you do to improve your character gives you more karma. Like, if you when you improve yourself on the like sphere grid thing by spending coins, you're getting karma points. When you're equipping better items with better stats, you're getting more karma points.
Yeah, like
it's sort of
every single
sort of
thing
like
you do.
That Destiny system of whatever it was called, that was their leveling system after you hit max level, where gear was like determining your level. It's kind of like that, because gear becomes super important just to increasing your karma. Like you have upgrade stuff on increasing your gear like slots.
Yeah,
and that stuff also increases your karma.
It's a really weird system. Basically, it's kind of like the Destiny thing of the better your gear and like how well geared up your character is that's like their higher level. But instead of like light level 24 or something like that, or whatever they call it, we're talking about like level 20,000. Like, it's not like one karma level is like a point or whatever. We're talking like maybe one full level up might be like 1,200 points or something. I don't know what the hell their system is for it. It's super weird and arbitrary, and it uses a lot of high numbers. Like, you can't even get the end game last thing until you have like 50,000 karma level or something like that, and it's kind of daunting. Like, the game is really daunting, and the way Path of Exile was as well. But I would say even more so, because Path of Exile, even though that's free to play, that game is open and you can play it and like get more loot and gear and have a decent time with it. This you have to grind. Like, you have to do levels of just the same shit you've done maybe 10 other times to get gems. And that is bad.
Yeah. And the weird, like, to progress on the like sphere grid thing, you're gonna need a specific kind of like 3 different gems. So if you have like a lot of 2 of them but none of one of them, then you might be able to go where you want to go right now until you grind that one too. Like,
yeah, it's really crazy. I don't like how to get premium, which makes everything easier for you, you pay in increments of days instead of just like per month, having it completely open per month or whatever. Because you were saying that like at the highest price point you can get to buy the most amount of days, you don't even get a full year for like $100 or something, right?
No, and the other fucked up thing about it is like the increments. The only way you can get premium is by buying like gems, which is their premium currency thing. And like the increments for buying gems don't line up with the increments for using gems to get premium.
Right, so you're either going to be a little under or always a bit over.
Yeah. And the highest amount of gems you can spend for premium is lower than the highest level you can buy, like highest number of gems you can buy at one time for $100.
Right.
But lower than that highest thing won't get you that same level twice. So you can buy 180 days of time, but you can't buy a whole year for $100.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It's
when
really
you're looking
stupid.
At that.
And the way they, like, this is what I kind of harped on most top-down. The way they do it is that they trick you. Like, when you download the game, they automatically give you 3 days of premium. And they get you hooked. Like, they give you the taste, so you think, oh, this game actually feels pretty good. I'm getting levels at a decent pace and whatnot, and blah, blah, blah. And then you realize that that's because they were giving you the good experience. As soon as that drops, it takes me at least 3 times the amount of time I've already tried to get the same amount of gems. Like, it becomes an absolute fucking nightmare.
Yeah, and like, if that was the level at which you were paying, like that felt good if I were playing a free game. That didn't feel great if I were paying for it.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah. So, like, it felt fair for a free game at the payment level. So they just don't offer their payment methods and plans. It's terrible. It's actually disgusting. And it's really a shame because that game is super solid. Like, it is really fun. The animations are beautiful. The stuff in the worlds are interesting looking and stuff like that. Story is absolutely terrible. The fucking character classes, though, play like classes I haven't seen in these games before. Like, they play amazingly. And
yeah,
it's really fucking irritating that they're throwing away all this good work on their bullshit try to get rich quick money scheme or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and like the part of it that I get sick of is like seeing the same whatever map tile sets over and over again, because I've seen them repeat already. And when it becomes a grind, that becomes a much bigger issue.
Yeah, because, like, for example, one night, we were trying to get, I think, like, 1 or 2 more levels or whatever before we logged off. We had to do the same map 3 times in a row. The exact same map.
That was with premium.
That was with premium. To just get, like, those few little things we needed to get before the night was over. I don't know. I can't recommend it. Like, I can recommend downloading it right now, trying it out and having some fun for a day or two, and then uninstalling it when they pull the rug from underneath you, because fuck those guys. Have fun with their free premium product for 2 days, and then forget about it, because there's other things out there you can put money towards if you want a good time, or even play for free if you want a better time. There's no need to pander to this bullshit that they're doing here.
Yep.
It's really just too bad. Because I had a good time, and it's dead. That time's gone.
Those advanced classes seemed cool. I'll never see them again outside that test chamber thing. Never.
Remind me the name of this game so I can avoid it. It's called Skyforge. It's not on Steam or anything like that, so if you're not actively looking for it, you can avoid it probably pretty easily. Don't worry about that. Moving on to Pac-Man, I guess?
Yeah.
I started playing this the other day, actually. It's not that good. It's not great.
No, it's no Crossy Road.
I'll tell you what it is good at. is that when you load it up and you're playing and it has those old school bleeps and bloops sounds.
Yeah.
That's the best part of that game. After that, like, it's whatever.
Yeah. It like it just has none of the. It doesn't have any like pop. Like there's not with like Crossy Road. You're doing stuff more often, kind of. Whereas this is sort of like it's every time you start up with back, you're going kind of slow.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. It doesn't. It's not great. And then you're not. It doesn't have the real thing with Crossy Road was like every time you're playing that game, you're getting like you're pulling that lever, or you're getting some mystery new character thing that you're popping out. And this, it's like these upgrade system that's total bullshit, and I don't like at all.
Yeah.
These like weird power ups that aren't that useful.
Like, this game gives you the carrot on the end of the stick, but it doesn't give you, like, the ability to actually reach for that carrot after you've done your run.
It's also not a very tasty carrot.
It's kind of a shitty carrot. Like, it's a carrot that's been in the ground way too long and became, like, mushy or something.
Yeah. Like, Crossy Road's carrot was really just charming.
Sure. Yeah.
Those like, different character stuffs were just neat and fun, and they didn't actually do anything, whereas these are, like, theoretically are going to make you get a better score if we're grinding, like, a lot. Like, doing a lot of grinding. Because the upgrade tree seems fucking long.
Also, maybe it's just
Like,
me.
so-
I don't like swiping a lot as the main mechanic in these games. I like with Crossy Road, to go forward, you tap once.
Yeah.
In this game, to do anything, you have to do a little swipe in whatever direction you want to go. I almost think I would have liked it if you tap on either the left side of the screen or the right side of the screen to turn left or right, depending on which way you're facing.
Yeah.
Like,
Because it's not
yeah.
precise, and a lot of times
Exactly.
when you're getting to, like, a medium length run, you need to turn fast, because those ghosts are
Yeah.
faster than you.
They are faster than you, and there are some parts I feel are just bullshit. Like, where there's just no way. Like, there'll be a long stretch in one random part, and then a ghost will come up on, like, either end, and then you're just like, well, what was I supposed to do?
Yeah, I don't feel like I lose because I've messed up. I feel like I lose because, no, I got bullshit.
Yeah. It's just not very good, but thankfully it's free, so
Yeah.
there's that. I guess.
Like, it's fine. It's not like, yeah. It's just not very good. It's just like,
Yeah.
I played this a couple times, and I'm like, yeah, I don't need to play this anymore.
I think it's just weird that, like, they already have a mobile game that is better, so just get that if you want a time waster. Like, they didn't really bring anything too new or interesting, in my opinion, to the table. It sounds better in theory than it actually is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know anything about Debirth. I didn't look this up. So what is this?
So this is someone just made this for a Game Jam thing. They basically remade Binding of Isaac as a Game Boy game.
Okay.
So it's just like it's a tiny screen that's all green in that way, and you can only move, and you have two buttons. One is bombs, is to place bombs, and one is to shoot. So it has a weird thing where you can only shoot where you're looking. It's just like silly. It's not very long. It's like one level, and you fight Larry Jr. at the end, and then that's it. Because it's just a little Game Jam thing. I just thought it was neat.
Does
And I
it
played
play
it
good?
and beat it. I mean, it doesn't play as good as Isaac, mostly just because you have to shoot only in the direction you're looking. You don't have the ability to shoot and move, sort of.
Oh, yeah.
It makes it a little harder. But and then there's the thing where, like, you could just stumble upon the boss room immediately and beat it, like, or you could have to go around through a bunch of rooms. So
Does it just end when you beat it, or is there, like, a thing that pops up that you touch to win?
it opens up like the gate, like, after you beat a boss in Isaac, and once you go in there, then it says you win.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. And the only pickups are, like, the only pickups I haven't found any items that were interesting. I know I found pills which just automatically are used on you to affect your stats, like give you whatever shot up. I think was the only one I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And there aren't that many of the enemy types, but there are some of them in there. Like the poops are in there.
Well, that's good. Need those.
Yeah, very important.
Any items at all?
I didn't see any of the interesting, because you only have two buttons. Like there isn't a
Yeah.
use item button, so maybe not.
Yeah. Huh. I kind of like the idea of a very, very basic Isaac clone like that.
Yeah.
I gotta check that out. Magic Duels came out, and you were like, you should try this out. So I did a little bit, and I don't know if I like Magic, man. Like, every time I play it, I just think there's too many convoluted rules that they've added. Like, maybe if I had played when I was way younger and before a lot of stuff, maybe, like, I could have just grown up with it and just gotten used to it. But I think Hearthstone is the perfect way for those games to go. It's fast, it's easy to pick up and play, and a little more difficult to master, especially now that they're finally adding real card effects, and there's not just, like, two things you can do, taunt or, like, battle cry. Like, there's actual things coming out as Hearthstone releases more. I feel like there's just too much in Magic, and the rules are too convoluted for me. Like, the different phases of everything. I just don't know. But either way, this is probably the best way I have found to learn it, is by trying Magic Duels and, like, watching you and stuff, because it is basically the Hearthstone version of Magic. It's very clean and easy to see follow what's going on, and I really like it. But why don't you talk more about it, since you're the actual Magic guy?
Yes. So this game, like the Magic in this sort of form, has been around for a while, but not free to play. Just as like spend like $10 and unlock a game, but then their monetization strategy was like pay to winnie, because it was like buy expansion packs for more cards, and then you have better cards to play against people online, and then they would come out with a new game in a year, so you'd have to do it all over again. Like, it was shitty. But so this is good just because this is gonna be the game going forward. They're not gonna like remake a new Magic Duels in a year that's like where you have to get all new cards. They're just gonna add cards to this thing, so it's like them sort of catching up to Hearthstone in a way with the game they already had, kind of.
It's too bad they didn't release it earlier, huh? Like, it's too bad that, like, this wasn't a thing that was around since 2011, 2012.
You know, this game has existed before Hearthstone existed. It's stupid that it wasn't sort of set up the way it should have been originally, but it wasn't. I forget when the first Duels of the Planewalker game was, though.
At least they're trying now, I guess. There's that.
Yeah. The other problem is it's been buggy. Apparently, two-headed giant mode is still broken, because me and Zawin tried to play that, and it most of the time it wouldn't let us join together, and then when it did, it would put whoever hosted into a match with some other person and kick the other person out, which was super shitty. Like, that's real bad.
Yeah, that's really bad.
It's garbage.
What's the rejoin like if you get kicked?
Well, but it was pairing you with some stranger on your team. It's like, it wasn't like a rejoin thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's fucked up. But, like, I guess they don't care. You can't get... It's like it's only a dumb fun mode. Like, you can't even get coins when you play that mode. So it's just weird. But it's like one of the draws of that fucking game has always been that they've done two-headed giant mode in it. So it's weird that they didn't make it work at all.
That is so broken. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you can do local with it too, though. But I don't know if that works or not. Yeah. So, like, I can't... Like, I do think this is the best way. If you're super new to Magic, like, this is the easiest way to get in.
I'm agreeing already from what I've seen, yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's like, I'm so deep into understanding Magic. I want the thing that completely reproduces the card game experience, which is Magic the Gathering Online. Like, I just I've I'm so much more used to that, and then I can the thing like this whole speed of the game when I play Magic Duels feels slow compared to when I can control things in Magic the Gathering Online and do what I want to be doing.
Right.
Like the timer system frustrates me, even though I get why they do it. But in Magic Gathering Online, I can more easily set up what things I want to like the game to stop and give me control over, and when I want it to just not do that and just keep going, and then matches are just have a time limit on them for like you have to get like you can't spend more than a half hour playing this game or you lose. Like instead of having this thing where every little step is timed. It also makes it sort of annoying when you're trying to do things that you have to do at a specific time in the game. When it's all like sort of rushing you. It gets on my nerves for doing the more interesting things in Magic that are the reason I like it more than Hearthstone.
Right.
Also, it's like been it's pretty grindy. Like they don't give you a great amount of gold for the amount you have to play, and a lot of the quests want you to use their weird deck building thing where you don't get to just pick all your cards. You like have to take their suggestions in sort of like that Hearthstone arena kind of way.
That doesn't sound fun for somebody learning, really, though.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's lame. But I mean, it's like the good thing is it gives you a bunch of cards to start out with, so you do have a bunch of commons and stuff.
I guess so.
And
yeah.
and a bunch of the big thing is they give you a bunch of like the dual lands that can produce multiple colors of mana, which are like when you're starting out, those cards can be expensive because everyone wants them because they're like super useful for any competitive deck. So that stuff is like I still don't have as many dual lands as I have because I don't want to spend money on them in Magic the Gathering Online.
Maybe
That
one
stuff is
day.
real. Yeah. So like this playing this has the same effect that playing Hearthstone has on me, which is I just want to be playing Magic, like real Magic, like the real thing.
Like cards.
Give me the or Magic Gathering Online, which just find better because I can like I just don't have people to play with in real life, so playing Magic Gathering Online is like I can just like play random matches over and over and over and over again.
Right.
Whereas even if you're playing with people in real life, like they have their decks, you have yours. You're not like you're not seeing new stuff all the time. Because the real thing with like there's so many cards in Magic that I'm seeing so much stuff. Like every game is different in the way that I don't get in Hearthstone. And there are like so many weird things you can do with deck building stuff or whatever. You just see different stuff. Or you can just build a fun, fast deck and then try to that's cheap and then that can take on decks that cost a lot of money, and that feels fun.
Yeah.
Which is what I think I did the last time I was playing. I made a deck with newer cards that was just super. It was as cheap as I could make it. That was super competitive. So yeah, this thing it's got bugs that they hopefully will iron out, but mostly it's the pace. Like the pace is a little slow, like compared to Hearthstone and compared to when you know what you're doing, controlling Magic and in Magic Gathering Online. I would say.
What makes it slow? Just like the timer between turns or something, or
Yeah, that like just the timer, like that you can't just play something like in Hearthstone when you can just start playing stuff and it's just gonna happen.
yeah.
Because you just do everything at the same time. So like the way the turn is stacked, and in duels you have to let all of that play out. Where in Magic Gathering Online you can just like say, oh no, I'm done. I skip all the rest for the turn, or like just click OK really quickly or whatever.
Right. Okay.
Like it'll only stop if the other it will only like give priority to the other player to place an instant or respond in some way if that player has like set up that they want to be able to do that at that time because there's theoretically something they can do, or at least they want you to think there's something they could do.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, the other thing I like doing is playing limited, like playing booster drafts where you get, like, you buy in for 3 packs and then you all start, like, picking it. You pick out one card from that thing and then everyone passes. Then you pick out one card from that to try and build a deck. That's like a cool way to where you're all sort of on equal footing with the decks you're building, and you have like and then there's like a tournament.
So arena
For winning
basically.
for winning extra packs. Yeah, basically arena. And there isn't really a mode like that in this. Like, the difference between arena is that you're all like actually bringing your packs. You're all sort of drawing from the same card pool at different rates.
Right.
And then there's like the way in Magic Online you can then just draft. You can just draft to pick the cards that are worth the most money, so you can sell them later to try and buy more packs.
That seems kind of dirty. Seems a little weird.
It's a way you can go, I guess. I also like the secondary market thing. It's so good, where you can just like find a lot of cards super cheap because they're like flooded the market because they're or whatever. Like, just the secondary market stuff makes building the specific deck you want to build much easier if you're super deep and like spending money on the thing.
Like, if you know what you want, basically.
Yeah, if you know what you're doing, it's like it's too much better than having to deal with. It's like you don't have to deal with any of this grindy bullshit that like there's no way to get around really, except spending a lot of money.
Right. All right.
But it's if you want to learn, it's easily the best way to do that right now.
Yeah.
And I put up like a video of my first time playing it where I was talking a bunch of introductory shit, trying to explain stuff.
I think I was there for some of it, unless this was a different time.
I think this was before the time I think you were there.
Gotcha.
I'm going to put that up later, but I haven't put that up on YouTube yet.
Cool. Let's talk about Spayra.
Spayra is great.
Kind of. I have a problem with the Pentaminos.
Yeah, like you have to just say, okay, I'm just going to learn how to deal with Pentaminos because they're weird, but that's the only way this game is getting made.
Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know what Spayra is, and I'm sure a lot of people don't because it's not even technically out, if you know what Tetris is, it is basically that where you fight against each other. It's almost kind of like a Super Puzzle Fighter in a way.
It's very Tetris Battle Gaiden.
More specifically, it is exactly Tetris Battle Gaiden if you happen to know what that is.
Yes.
But if you don't know what that is, it is Tetris where it's almost like a 2-player duel sort of thing, and as you get certain blocks or gems or whatever the hell they are, like energy cube things in this, you build up energy and you are able to use powers to either fuck with your opponent or like clear your side of the screen a little bit more or whatever effect you have. There's different characters you can pick to do that sort of thing.
The big thing is like you're both drawing from the same queue of Tetris pieces.
Yes.
So there's a lot of like chicanery you can do and trying to manipulate that to make sure you get the pieces you want and they don't get the pieces they need.
Yes, exactly. The biggest problem I have with this, though, is that Tetris Battle Gaiden is great, and games like that are completely fantastically amazing because they are Tetraminos, they are Tetris pieces. When we're talking Pentaminos, we're talking about 5, like, what would you call it? 5-pronged, like, things are included with some Tetraminos, right? There are still Tetris pieces in this.
Yes.
But because of licensing, they can't just do Tetris. They have to make it different.
Yeah. I think they're all the regular Tetris pieces except the Tetris piece of the 4 straight blocks. That's a 5 straight block. And then they have a bunch of other 5 shit piece blocks.
They're fucking garbage. I hate them. I hate the 5-piece blocks so much. Like, it's kind of one of those things that I've gotten used to because I like playing the game.
Yeah.
But if I had my way, that wouldn't be a thing that exists, because I fucking hate them. They're the worst. They never seem to fit properly anywhere, and even when they do, it's because you set it up so that they might be able to.
Like, you have to sort of play differently, because if you play straight Tetris, you're just not gonna have any place for them, and you're gonna really hate them because they fuck everything up if you're just playing like normal Tetris with setups. The one I've found I can deal with usually is the steps.
Yeah.
Steps, I'm okay. It's the one that's like got 2 blocks. That's like the
cross.
The cross. I never have like when I don't have a place to put that one fucks me up. So
the cross needs to get fucked. It is the worst fucking thing.
Oh, it's so bad.
You never like have a spot for the cross, because like if you ever played Tetris growing up, you never really set up your area, your like working area there, your Tetris area for that type of thing ever. So when they introduce it, you are fucked because you have years of experience of not doing that. Oh,
you have to focus much harder on just clearing like that cross line where the cross ended up.
Yeah.
Just like positioning stuff just to get that specific line clear, kind of.
It is actually the worst. It is the worst piece. I don't know, man. Like, as I'm talking about it, I kind of hate Spera the more I'm talking about it. Because Tetris is great. This game is actually great. Just the fact that it has these pieces makes it shitty in a lot of ways. But I understand why they do, because they can't just completely copy Tetris and get away with it.
Yeah.
Which is bullshit, by the way. But whatever.
Yeah. There are also some of the characters seem way more powerful, better than some of the other ones.
Yeah.
But that was true in Tetris Battleground too, so.
Yeah, that's one of the fun things, is that how unbalanced it is.
Yeah. Like, there's a character that if you get his level 4 spell, you literally get to place the next 2 pieces for your opponent, so you can just make them lose if their board is high enough. Like, right there. But, yeah.
Which guy is that gets that?
That's the music player. I think he's in, like, the bottom right. He also has one where when, I think his level 3 is, like, they clear a line, their pieces don't fall for a while.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of these powers are straight out of Battleground, though.
Yes.
Like, straight out.
A lot of them are. A lot of them are.
Honestly, it's making me just want to buy that and play that, though.
If that played online, then yeah. But
yeah,
it's like that. This has when you can play this against like friends instead of just doing random online matches, is when I feel like I'll really know if I can how much I like this thing.
Yeah, I agree. For anybody who wants to try this out, by the way, it is free of it right now for download. Just go to the beta, put in your email address, and then download it. And yeah, you can try it for yourself. It's blazingorb.com is where you go for it, and you just click on join the beta, and free download. It takes like maybe a minute to download, install it, and you're good to go. And you can see what we're talking about with the crosses and the fucking bullshit.
It's for sure worth playing, though.
It is
for free. It's
for free.
Worth it.
I think I might still put money towards it if they release it for like a decent price or something, just to, help them out. Because I do believe that there should be more Tetris clones. I just don't believe that 5-prong pieces should ever exist. It's fucking bullshit.
Just get rid of the cross.
Get rid of the cross.
It's fine.
Get rid of that fucking cross. The one you would think would be the hardest, the step, steps, actually isn't. That's one of the easiest ones to deal with.
Yep.
Because, like I said, growing up with Tetris, you always kind of inadvertently build a little, like, step, like, hill or something, and that just always fits perfectly somewhere with it. So, Yeah, man, I don't know. That cross. I'm so angry thinking about it. We should move on.
You're right. This game is no Puyo Puyo Tetris. Puyo Puyo Tetris is way better.
It is. Yeah. I wish I had it.
So good.
I wish I had
So
it so I could
good.
play it.
So good. I can't wait to buy it again when I get a PS4.
So
So
you finished Tembo.
I finished Tembo the Badass Elephant.
Okay. Do you
That
love
game's
it?
okay. Nah.
Yeah.
I really wish that game had better music
Yeah.
because the third world is like disco party themed,
Okay.
and if that had good music, it would kind of be the best thing. But
But
the
it doesn't.
the music sucks. So it's like who cares?
Oh. That's
The
too
boss
bad.
of that is a giant evil disco ball.
Okay.
That thing is great.
And it
There's
has bad
dancing in the
music?
background. It's not bad. It's nothing. It's like whatever. It's just there. Like
How do
I just
you
put on
have
other music?
How do
I
you
don't
have
get
a
it.
game like that with, or like a stage like that, and not have the best music you've ever put out in your life on there?
I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I'm gonna have to look up a YouTube video after and see what it sounds like.
It should be like the best thing, and it's just kind of lame. Also, there's some like so a lot of the reviews for this game say it gets stupid hard. That's not really true. It just gets sort of they're just like crowding enemies together and gets kind of annoying.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's not like it's like you just have to do it a couple times and then you get through it. It's not super hard. This game, like I beat it in whatever 4 hours. It's not that hard. The most annoying thing is the final boss has an attack that's actually just bullshit, where he launches out missiles that all zoom towards you, and like the only way to avoid them entirely is to zoom out at the last second, because if you go too early, they will then follow, not crash into the ground and follow you all the way to the edge where you can't get away from them at all. Also, if you stay still, he will shoot laser beams at you while those missiles are coming at you. And sometimes he will launch two waves of missiles, one right after the other. So you're just double fucked.
That's stupid. That just sounds dumb.
And you can only hit him in that phase by hitting a projectile he shoots out back at him. And if he shoots missiles, those will come out while the missiles are still coming at you.
Great.
Like, it's just too much shit. It's just kind of, and it's not like, it's just annoying more than anything, because also to get to that point, you have to do this long first phase that's not, that like once you've done it more than once is just tedious and not hard. Like, you can do it without getting hit pretty easily, but it still takes a while. So it's just annoying.
Yeah.
And then I beat his final form in like the first time I got to it.
So it was easy then
It was-
after that.
It was just that thing where he launches missiles. Also, I just got lucky with RNG where he used the attack that allows you to hurt him like a couple times early on. So I got through. So there was less I had to deal with, which is also lame that it's RNG based like that. Yeah, Tembo's it was okay. Like, I liked it enough to finish it, but it's not gonna be on my top 10 or anything. It's not a great platformer.
Yeah.
It is an okay platformer.
It is okay. Yeah. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm really interested to see what you say about Tales from the Borderlands, because it sounds like you are absolutely enthralled with it right now.
Yeah, it is easily. It is my favorite Telltale game. I
Yeah.
like it more than Wolf Among Us. It has like my favorite part about it is some really fucking good title card sequences with like musical where like there's music playing and it like does a sequence like a montage or something else.
Uh-huh.
They're just really cool. And this game has such a good spirit to it. It's just about like all the characters. It's like crazy shit is happening, fucked up shit happens, but they're always like, I'm really having a great time. Like, I'm actually having the most fun I've ever had in my life. Like, just that the characters are like have that attitude about it makes such a difference compared to something like The Walking Dead, where everyone's fucking miserable.
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also you're not making just choices based on like having characters live or die, which becomes super tedious because you just know they're going to die again later.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, a lot of the times your big decisions are like, which joke of these do you want to see? It's like they're all kind of like they don't matter in that they're flavor based, which makes them like more important to me as a player because it's like what of this game do I want to see? How do I want this story to play out? Which is sort of the strength of the Telltale choice thing as far as telling a story goes. Is you get to flavor it. You get to like sort of choose what is important about this story to me.
Yeah.
What matters.
Huh.
Like, are you gonna side with your friends, or are you gonna like if your friend has a plan? Are you gonna let her play that out, or are you gonna let Handsome Jack take over your body and like control robot army to get you out of this thing? Like, it's gonna play out kind of similar, but it's gonna be flavored differently depending on what you do.
It
It's just
sounds like
cool.
you really liked episode 4, though. Like something happened in it or something.
It was so episode 3 is where it starts to get really good. Actually, the title sequence is really good. But by episode 4, like I was in love with the game, so it was sort of just giving me more of that. Like that's when by that point I had decided that I fucking love this thing.
Oh, okay.
It was
Huh.
more than anything. Whereas I was like, is it gonna keep being good? And it was like, yeah, it kept being good. It's like it's easily the most consistent thing they've put out too, because the chapters just sort of got better.
Hmm.
They're just good. 3 might be better than 4. I'm not sure.
I
But they go
heard
to
the
space.
opposite of Game of Thrones, where it kind of got worse.
Game of Thrones, it was just sort of okay, but episode 4 was the weakest.
Oh,
For sure.
okay.
Or episode 5 was the weakest, excuse me,
Hmm.
because that one's 6 episodes. Like, 5 was just short. It was like not that much happened until the very end. I'm just like, yeah, you should have been building to stuff, and now it's just like, eh. Game of Thrones is mediocre. This game, Tales for the Borderlands, really, really good. It's just fun. It's a fun story. I like the characters. It's funny. It's like emotionally engaging. Like I care about what's happening.
How many
And I
people
don't.
have died?
2.
Oh, wow.
One of them was a villain,
Oh, I don't know if that counts then.
but he was and they still worked a way in for the actor to be in the next episode because then you pretend to be him.
Hmm.
I forget. Also, it's what's his name? Names.
Huh?
I have to look up this guy's name.
Oh,
'Cause,
okay.
um, Patrick Warburton's character died. But Patrick Warburton is awesome, so they still found a way to have Patrick Warburton in episode 4. They worked that in. There is a really great sequence that's super silly in episode 4. Like, really fucking stupid, but they go all the way into it and it's great.
Hmm.
It's like making fun of the bullshit that action sequences while being one, but being hilarious and funny, and it's just really good.
Cool. Sounds cool.
It's a good thing. It's just fun. Like more than anything, it's like it's just a game that's just like, yeah, we're just gonna have good characters and be fun and engaging, instead of like trying to be depressing or dark or super serious. Like we can just have nonsense.
That might be cathartic for them, though. Like, in the end, it was like, let's just write a thing where everybody's not dying all the time.
Like it feels like them putting together all their strengths of like their funny writing from their older stuff, the more emotionally engaging storyline stuff of their newer stuff. Like it's just they've put everything that they've sort of done as a as a company up to this point together in this game. It like feels like a culmination kind of what they've done.
Mm.
It's just cool. It's a cool thing, and I really like it. And I really like the music they use and the title card sequences. They're really good. Really good. It's such a good montage for episode 3. The montage is so good of them. They're just on a they're basically traveling, so it's like road trippy.
As somebody who doesn't care about Borderlands like story stuff or even the world at all, like in the other games, would you recommend this to me at all?
Yeah, I don't give a shit about Borderlands.
Okay.
I care. This made me care about the world in a way that I think everything I've seen about the Borderlands writing has been terrible before this. Like really fucking bad. But the writing here is really good. They make all that stuff compelling in a way that it never was.
Cool.
Yeah. I was just gonna say something. Also it's just sort of cool that your characters are like street level characters.
What do you mean?
Of like you're like a middle management character and some con artists.
Oh, okay.
That's just you're going out to find a vault, but you're not like super powerful, the best people. You're like you have to use your wits, and that's why conversation matters, because you can't fight. You're not good freight fighters. You're sort of learning and trying to get better at that stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually. That's pretty neat. I like that.
And they're having fun. Like a character's like literally could have died, and he's like, we could have died, but this is really fun. This is fun. This is cool. Shit is crazy. Shit is crazy, but it's great. It's great. And like kind of all the characters are just sort of like, this is fucked up and crazy, but yeah.
Oh. Well, next time it goes on a sale that's decent, I'll take a look.
That was also a reason I bought it. It was on sale when I bought it.
Right.
I've been hearing good things, but I was also like, I'm waiting till this is on sale before I buy it. Because that's what I do with Telltale games, really.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason to get them right away. There's like no rush. They're coming out on a delayed schedule, and they go on sale before they're done for significant discounts.
Yeah. Next
but
time.
this is their best one. This is their best game. I mean, unless they really fuck it up. But 4 episodes out of 5, really, their best game.
Well, they still have time. They could do it. I have faith.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like if they didn't actually wrap up their story, I guess. Like if it turned out to somehow be a secret, like set up for Borderlands 3 instead of being its own thing, I would be annoyed.
What if it was all just like an advertisement for Mountain Dew?
I could appreciate the humor in that, probably.
It would also be kind of irritating, though.
Yeah. The thing that sort of surprised me is like how there's like a lot of stuff from the Borderlands. Like they've put in a lot of characters who I guess were in Borderlands games, sort of. But I don't have any connection to any of them, but I still like understood everything that was going on and still liked it.
Are there like a lot of cameos and shit?
It's not really cameo. Like characters are like part of the Athena, who was I think a playable character in
pre-sequel.
Joins your party at one point, like is traveling with you. Scooter is in it.
Does he say catch a ride?
He does say catch a ride.
Good.
Like you get him to fix your vehicle at one point. Handsome Jack is kind of in it a lot because one of your characters puts a thing in his brain to give him a different security clearance, and then there's like a hologram of Handsome Jack hanging around in his brain sometimes. It like goes away when he gets hit in the head and can like control shit. And is sort of directing him to greater things or whatever, manipulating him and whatnot. And you sort of get choices based on like how much control over your body you want to let him. So the thing about this game is the way its story is being told is framed of like these two characters you're switching back and forth from, Reese and Fiona. Reese is like works for Hyperion as like middle management, but gets screwed over by Patrick Warburton's character from like getting like taking over Hyperion kind of to like the position of like office sort of being in charge, and then goes on a quest sort of to screw over this deal of getting a vault key that Warburton had set up. And then there's Fiona, who was a con artist who was part of setting up a thing to sell this fake the vault key, which is fake, to Patrick Warburton's character, and they get intertwined. But the story is framed of after all this, these two characters sort of thought they weren't going to see each other anymore, but are now been taken hostage by some guy in a mask with a gun who's telling them to tell him what happened. So sometimes they embellish and lie, and it's like in silly ways where it's like, yeah, that didn't happen. No. And they go back and or one of them will tell it differently than the other or something. There's like cool framing devices that they mostly use for jokes, but it's also like, what's actually going on here? There's like some intrigue there. It's just cool, man.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I should check it out, I think. One day.
One day.
One day. You didn't write it down here, but we also played Rocket League a little bit.
Yep. Rocket League's fun.
I want to play more of it again. I need to get back in the habit of just moving around in that game. Because that game is not like a bicycle. Once you learn it, you just don't always know it. You have to remember how to move around and do the physics stuff in that. Yeah,
when I joined in the game, when you're in John's stream, I didn't remember what buttons were which. It was like, I kept starting games by pressing A. I was like, oh no, now I've jumped. Fuck. So
I'm having controller issues myself. Ugh. What a pain in the ass. But that game is super fun, and I want to play more of it. After we do this, we should play more tonight.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That game's fun, man.
It is, especially when you're watching the high plays of it. Okay, so I can't remember what it was called. I think it was like ESL Rocket League to go or to go Rocket League or something like that.
Yeah.
Tournament just happened before we did this. In fact, that's why we're doing it a little bit later than I would have liked, is because we were watching it. When you see pro play of that game, that is a whole different game that's being played. It is actually the equivalent of watching pro soccer players kick the ball to each other and across the field and be able to catch it with their feet and stuff in real soccer, and a bunch of kindergarten kids all clumping up and trying to chase a ball down. There is a huge difference, and it's a completely different fucking game. Watching them play Rocket League is actually disheartening in the biggest way, that you will never even be close to being good enough to play with actual people that play this game regularly.
Except that they're so good they make other people in the tournament look like normal Rocket League players.
But even the people that aren't the best team in the world, I'm talking about,
yeah,
it's so there's very few times they actually miss their mark when they're going for the ball. They actually make... This is why... Okay, I gotta get a little bit more control about my thoughts here. But This is exactly why this is a backseating game. Because when it's played at a good level, it looks easy. It really, really does. It when you're watching a pro play this, and they jump towards a ball, it makes sense to you because you know that it's speaking within physics, or thinking about the physics in the game. Of course he's going to meet the ball perfectly or whatever, even though it doesn't look like he's going to. But, just executing that yourself is really fucking hard.
Also, when you're watching, it's much easier to, see, oh, this team, their positioning is all fucked up. They should fix that. But, when you're in a game... you're just trying to get it done. It's a whole different thing from seeing that when you're watching it and actually being coordinated enough as a team to do it.
It's
Like, that was the big thing. It's like seeing a lot of these teams, like, oh, their positioning's all fucked up. What's going on? But, like, there was, like, one team that was always on point with their positioning.
it's so crazy, too, though. Like, the team that you're talking about that was always on point, I remember at one point, it just, like, they got 3 shots off in a row, all 3 different people. Like, it was like, they were off to the right of the net. The one guy, like, banked it up and, like, shot it off the side or whatever. And then another, like, it gets bounced back by the goalie. Then another dude takes a shot. It goes off the rim. Then another guy takes a shot. Like, it's fucking insane. And I was just thinking, holy shit. Like, how do you defend against that onslaught? It's absolutely gross.
The answer is usually you don't.
You don't. And that's why the
Like-
team we're talking about is just, like, undefeated in every tournament they've played in.
Yeah. Because, like, at
yeah.
a certain point, when you're playing that aerial game, like, I assume you've just practiced it enough that it's like what the other team does is, like, secondary concern to just doing the stuff you need to do to hit the ball or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, when you're doing those aerial shots and you're just sort of dunking it, like, the other team doesn't matter. Like, maybe they hit it out, so that shot doesn't score.
Yeah.
But you're still going to do the same thing, kind of. You're like, your goal is still the same. It's to get up in the air and hit it in, because that's fucking hard to stop, and it's usually going to go in. Like, a goalie can't get enough. If the person is stopped in the goal, they can only get so high. Like, there's only so much they can do there.
Yeah.
You know, like, your advantage is really fucking high.
Or the double aerial hit, the dribbling in the air.
The double aerial hit is fuck. What the fuck? Like, hits it, then spins and hits it again.
And then like hits it on the ground and then kind of dunks it in. Like, it's so fucking gross. It's a completely different game though. Like, it really is. Watching
it's also
the
like
pros.
watching someone dive straight at the ball and then hit it the way the ball was going. Like, the opposite way that they were going.
Yeah.
Like, doing a flip and, like, but, like, having the confidence to just dive at the ball when that's, like, the worst thing, because that's going to put it in your goal.
Yeah.
But you know you can flip around and hit it out. Like, that stuff is nuts, too.
Yeah, that whole thing is nuts. It's
Like, that's
really
literally
fun.
playing the game the way I wouldn't. Because, like, I would be too nervous to just dive at the ball like that.
And that's why
And
we'll
I
never
would
be pro.
I would certainly fuck it up. I would
Yeah.
certainly fuck it up somehow. Because I'm not that good.
To be fair though, like, at some points for some of those teams, they were so far behind it didn't matter if they scored goals against themselves, because, like, they weren't coming back anyway.
Nope. I definitely remember a player on a team scoring a goal on themselves.
Yeah.
Just because they were getting blown out so bad. It's like, fuck. Just want to put it in the net. Down by 8 points. Like, a minute left. Whatever.
Yep. It's too bad though, because if I can't remember their name now, the other team, not the good team, like in the finals. I can't remember the name. Whatever.
Untethered.
Yeah, Untethered. I wish they would have won because they're Canadian. That's it. That's the only reason.
Gotcha.
Also, I kind of want, like, the pros to get shot down at some point. They're too good.
I mean, you could tell the commentators were, like, hoping that they would win. They're like, we're totally unbalanced. We just kind of want to see someone beat Cosmic Aftershock. Like, we just kind of want to see it.
Yeah, I was with them too, because I don't know, man. Those 3 are too good. They're way too good. It's
just clearly
actually
better.
It's
They're
actually not
just
fun.
Clearly better than everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, I wish there was at least one team that was as good as them. Like, on their level even. But there isn't, apparently.
Yeah. I don't know, man. They're too good, and it's not that fun to watch them just slaughter people. It is at first, and then it isn't. Like, it becomes not fun to see the slaughter pretty quickly, because you want to see a back and forth, at least.
Yeah. You want to be able to believe Another team has a chance, and at a certain point, you're like, no.
Like, yeah, it's just not gonna happen, I guess. But I don't know. I think if there was a team that could have done it, it probably would have been Untethered because Lachino or whatever,
Yeah.
that dude's real good. Like,
Yeah.
he is really good. He
Yep.
might be, like, on par with any of the other three on the other team, except Kronovi, because that guy is too good. But
Guy is actually the best. Like,
it's scary. How the fuck does he set himself up? Like, from the other side, he can set himself up and be there to meet the ball and score. It's really weird. I don't know.
he's really good.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
teammates are really good. They're they're just, and they play off each other really well. Like they know what the other ones are doing.
Yeah. That's what makes them scary, is that it doesn't seem like they're even talking to each other because they're already set up all the time.
Yep.
Yopal train with TDP to take them down. Oh, man. We would actually all have to quit all, like, our jobs, what we do, live in a house together, and play for 20 hours a day to even get close. Like, we're talking about a level so fucking far beyond us. Holy shit. Like, you know what? Anybody listening to this who thinks I'm exaggerating, go to YouTube and look up, like, Kronovi or whatever. Just, like, a compilation video of what he does. And he does it every fucking game. It's,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not exaggerating. He's too good.
No, he's fucking amazing.
Yeah. Either, well, I mean, that's it. That's all we did for video games, so that was the
Yep.
last thing.
That was the last thing.
Except I played World of Warcraft yesterday.
How was that?
I was just doing instances to see what I could get from them, like transmog runs. So boring. It was basically what I did while listening to a podcast.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't bring it up.
I've been going on walks while listening to podcasts.
Yeah, that sounds way healthier than sitting in a chair for 7 hours.
Yep.
Yeah. I watched Whiplash.
How was that?
It's okay.
Okay. I figured it was okay.
Yeah.
But I've heard
it
people
is.
talk about that like it's fucking great. And I just have a hard time believing it would really matter to me that much other than
It's-
just being an okay movie.
It's, like, strangely thrilling in a way I wasn't expecting.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. There's a good payoff, I think. I think that's why people say it's great, because it's not very cynical. Like, it kind of is cynical about how it approaches the subject matter, but more importantly, there's a payoff, so if you can go away from it feeling good about yourself, and that's what people look for in movies nowadays, is something where they can relate to a character, go through hardships with them, and then triumph with them in the end, and this totally gives you that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why people say that, but either way, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah.
good.
It's like I've just had a hard time feeling like I can care about most movies based on a true story recently.
Sure.
Like I know there are exceptions of movies that I like a lot that are based on true stories. I just feel like standard stuff is not. It just doesn't, even when I think it's a well-made movie, it just doesn't connect with me in a way. Again, there are exceptions, so.
Well, one day when you're bored and you try this out, you can let me know, I guess.
Yep, I guess. But I mostly just watch movies in the theaters all the time for whatever
Yeah.
reason.
Well, because you don't have Netflix, right?
I do not. I don't have Netflix, but I have like on-demand cable stuff from my parents that I can access. That's basically Netflix anyway,
Yeah.
which is
okay.
why I don't have Netflix.
Yeah.
Like Comcast's whatever on-demand internet stuff. I have access to.
Is that any good?
What? It's
Their thing?
it's fine. Like it has it has everything that you have on demand with their cable service, so it's pretty good. Like a lot, there are a bunch of TV shows where it'll only have like recent episodes or whatever instead of full seasons. But some stuff it has full seasons.
Okay.
It's sort of a crapshoot. They have movies and stuff. Like, I mean, I just haven't been using that stuff very often anyway. So I haven't been watching too much TV. There's TV I want to watch. So at some point I'm going to like hunker down and watch stuff, but I haven't come to that point yet. Like I really want to watch Mr. Robot. I really want to watch Humans. I think I want to watch The Brink. Of like recent TV shows.
I don't know what these are.
These are recent TV shows. Humans is about robots, and Mr. Robot is about humans.
Okay.
It's just a funny thing.
See, I've been watching some Boy Meets World and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and recently Roseanne. I've been catching up on Roseanne.
I have watched all those shows when I was a child.
Yep. I come back to them every now and then. I guess this is the year for Boy Meets World. So I've been doing that mostly, but I never really got into Roseanne until this year, and now I'm really liking it, and I'm not really sure why. So
Roseanne felt like a show I should like more than I ever did.
it's actually sillier than I remember it. For some reason, I had it in my head as that like it's super serious and kind of like a dysfunctional like domestic abuse family or something, but like no, it's totally not at all. Like they're all very silly with each other, and there's like kind of a reality there of like how family interaction actually is, where it's not all just like the after school special. There is yelling at each other and stuff, but like at the end of the day there is like people caring about each other. So I kind of like that about it. The other things I'm naming off here, like Boy Meets World and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and stuff, are very after school-y.
Yes.
And like I don't know about you, maybe it's just me, but like I never really just went like I love you to my parents regularly at all. Like I like to show you care with them or whatever. I would like joke around with them or whatever. Like I wouldn't just straight up be like, there wasn't like the music would swell up and it's like thank you for everything sort of thing. Like
no, that's not a thing.
That's why I kind of like Roseanne in that regard, because it is just very toned down in that regard. I like it.
Cool.
And I hate going back to these shows, though, that I watched when I was a kid and realizing that I can relate to, like, the parent side now because they're around my age. When, like, or they're supposed to be. Like, for example, Friends. You remember the show Friends.
I do.
I am older
Surprisingly.
than they were when they started. Like, they were supposed to be, I think, around 25 or 6 years old in their first season. I'm older than that. And that bothers me so much. But, yeah, and, like, I think Roseanne, like, her and Dan are, like, in their early 30s or mid-30s, which I'm close to.
Yeah.
So it's weird, man. When, like, these used to be the parents, and now you're around that age, and you're just like, oh, man, I understand now why, like, they're freaking out in this episode about giving their kids money or whatever when they're working a dead-end job. Like, I get it. I'm there. Like, I can't imagine having 3 kids having to support them with the job I have. So, yeah. I don't know. It's a whole different way to look at those shows. I think that's kind of why I like to revisit them, though. You get a different perspective than what you remembered.
Yeah, I could see that.
But enough about TV shows. You saw a shitload of movies.
I saw 10 movies. 10 in theaters.
Yeah.
I think one day I went to like see 3 movies in a day.
That's too much. It's too much. And there's like a review for almost all of these. Or a good portion of them.
A good portion of them.
Yeah.
Some of them I just didn't really feel like I had too much to say about them.
You just kind of ignored.
Or I wasn't sure what to say. But whatever. We'll start off with The End of the Tour, which I did write a review of. So this is about fuck. It's basically a movie that's like just a conversation between two writers. It's about so the reporter who worked for Rolling Stone, David Lipsky, goes to interview the novelist David Foster Wallace in 1996 is when this happened. And this was an interview that never ended up getting published for Rolling Stone. Like, David Lipsky later wrote about it in, I think, a book. And it's like the movie is framed because David Foster Wallace eventually committed suicide. I forget what year, but like years after this. And they're so that he eventually did that is sort of hanging over this movie. But the movie, because the thing is, for like what the kind of interview piece to get it run, he would have had. There were like rumors that David Foster Wallace had used heroin at some point, so David Lipsky would have had to like really been an asshole and like done investigative reporting stuff that he just and like found out about and gotten answers. But that doesn't really happen. Like, their conversation is much more like just them talking about their lives and stuff. It's like they're way more open with each other, kind of because they don't really know each other, because they're both writers. Like, there's a thing where like David Lipsky, at this point in his career, where he's just started working for Rolling Stone, he like wishes he had David Foster Wallace's career as like being an acclaimed, successful novelist, whereas David Foster Wallace is like, you don't want my life. My life, it's not that great.
Obviously, since he kills himself.
Yeah. But he's like he's teaching at a college, but he's like lives alone with two dogs, and it's like it's weird. It's a weird thing. So I haven't read David Foster Wallace's work, but what I've heard is that it's like a lot about a lot of like drug use stuff, and it's super depressing. Like, I've kind of heard that it's kind of too bleak from people like that I trust that have some similar taste to me.
Huh.
But this is a good movie. But I like movies that are just like a conversation between two characters. Like, I really like the Before Sunrise, Before Sunset trilogy of movies. Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and like before, I forget the last one, Before Midnight or something.
I don't think I know these. So
they're directed by the guy who directed Boyhood, and they are also starring Ethan Hawke.
Ah,
so this come from there. But those movies I really like, and I never saw Boyhood, because what I liked about those movies is like those are like, there's a conversation that these two characters have when they're like teenagers, and then of like where they fall in love, but then they never actually like meet up again, even though they were had all these plans. So then they meet up again like when they're older and more jaded, and like he's had a divorce and stuff, but he like writes a book about what they have. So then they have another conversation that ends up getting together, and then the third movie is like they've been together for a while, they have two kids, and the conversation is like where they are at this point in their life, where they're sick of each other in certain ways and stuff. Like, there's just good character growth stuff, and it's just interesting seeing two characters talk to each other. I like conversation stuff.
Go figure.
This movie isn't as good as those movies, but it's a pretty good conversation movie. If you want to watch a movie that's a conversation, this is a movie. That's okay.
Cool.
Like, I'm not crazy about it, but it was pretty good. The next movie I saw is a documentary. It's Best of Enemies, which is about like these. So I forget what year it was, like the 1960s.
The televised debates.
Yeah, televised debates in 1968.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing was, ABC at the time, of the three major networks, could get like no ratings. Like their news wasn't well respected compared to CBS or NBC, who had respected news anchors, and those two were doing a lot of political coverage of this thing. So ABC's plan to not spend a lot of money was to have televised, to just sort of have an hour of programming where they would just have two people talk about it. And the first people they got William F. Buckley and Gore Vidal to talk about it. And the thing was, those two friggin' hated each other. Like, when they got William F. Buckley, they asked him who he didn't want to have on with him, and he said he didn't want to talk to a communist, and he didn't want to talk to Gore Vidal. So they got Gore Vidal. Like, so what should have been like political debate was more like these two people trying to destroy each other through words on television.
Right.
So it's like kind of the moment that public discourse in America was like seeded. It was always going to be terrible because like this became super popular because it was like great theater.
It was like when debate died.
Yeah, it was like redefined to being just fucking destroy this person's life and make them miserable. Like really cut to the core of who they are as a person and like ruin their life. Like just make them hate everything.
It's so gross.
So yeah, that was a thing. And it's like a lot of it's driven by Gore Vidal, who theoretically is closer to where I am politically, because William F. Buckley was like super right wing, super conservative. He wrote the National Review, which is super influential. Like he was actually like a part of the right wing political machine at the time. Gore Vidal was sort of an outcast at this point. He'd like tried to have a political career, but he fucking like had a really bad feud with Robert Kennedy. And like so sort of he was like cousins with Jack with the like he was related to the Kennedys, so cousinship stuff, but he had a really strong breaking off with Robert Kennedy. He fucking hated him. And that sort of killed his political career. So he was sort of like, so he wasn't representative of the other side in that same way. So he wasn't interested in like furthering agenda. He was just sort of, he came to this thing just wanting to destroy William F. Buckley.
Right.
Like he's super prepared just to like make William F. Buckley look like an idiot and ruin him. And then William F. Buckley like had to respond in kind, basically.
So is this just like a retelling of that, or like?
Yeah, it's basically it's a documentary. It shows a lot of that footage. It has like interview stuff with them and people talking about it. Like it's a strict documentary, but the documentary is like framed as like this is the moment that like set off what like cable news TV stuff has become, what public discourse is now. Like, yeah, this is a thing that happened. It's pretty fucked up, kind of, actually.
Is it unbiased then? Or is it pretty biased against, like, the media for what they did?
It's like, no, like, they used that clip of when Jon Stewart was on Crossfire and said, "This isn't debate. This is theater." Like, that's the movie's take. Like, as much as it has a bias, that's what it is. Like, it agrees with sort of that sentiment that...
Right, yeah.
That this isn't actually debate. This is something else. But it's, like, sort of what has replaced debate for us. So it was interesting. Like, it was a fine documentary of this kind of horrible thing that ruined everything.
That's always fun.
Yeah. So I don't really know what I think about it as a movie. It like depicted this thing well, and it was interesting to watch, but
yeah, I kind of want to check that out.
Yep. So it was a good documentary. The next thing I have to talk about is Fantastic Four, which is really bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
So what makes this so bad? Because I kind of read your write-up on it, and I got a basic idea of what you don't like about it. It sounds like it's just boring.
So yeah, ultimately it's just boring. It doesn't really feel like a movie. Like it really feels like like some scenes were shot and then this movie was rewritten and then they shot more stuff, which I think is actually what happened, and they just tried to tie it together. Like it has no cohesion. It really feels like the director wanted to make this movie, and the studio and producers said, "No, we're not going to let you make that movie. We're gonna do all this other stuff." Like it wants to be darker and more horror sort of stuff. Like there are parts of like Doctor Doom exploding people's heads, but then it ends with like the exact thematically same ending as Fantastic Four 2. It's like, well, let's come together and spontaneously have a plan that's not a plan because, you know, teamwork.
Huh?
Even though the whole movie they like fucking hate each other. It's just
Who, the Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
I like that premise, though, where they actually don't like each other and then have to come together. It just sounds like it was maybe done horribly.
It was, yeah, like there are ideas here that could have been made for a good movie. It's execution all around terrible. Like the movie looks ugly. Most of it is spent in underground bunkers of people talking to each other expositionally. Like the majority of the movie is people talking at each other expositionally in bunkers. They don't become the Fantastic Four until like 80 minutes in.
How do they become the Fantastic Four? Radiation from the ground or something?
They interdimensional travel that then they come back and it's like The Fly where they teleport and then like rocks are getting into Ben Grimm's thing and fire is getting into Johnny's thing.
Huh.
And
All
Reed
right.
stretches for some reason, and Sue doesn't actually go on the mission because, you know, this movie's also kind of misogynistic, so whatever. And
Is
Dr.
it
Doom
really?
goes on it instead, so he just stays behind.
That's kind of funny. Wow.
Like it just has no, like the movie just has no respect for Sue, like just as a female character, like just none.
How do you
There's
know
like
that,
weird,
though? Like, why do you say that?
um, so she has no character, she has no character arc. Just like there are like sort of plot points about people. It's probably too strong. I'm probably coming on too strong about it. It's just it doesn't ever give her anything to do. Like it really
So she's
doesn't
like Black
give a
Widow, then.
shit about her, kind of. But it gives even less of a shit. Like she's just barely in the movie. But
Huh.
there's like there's like, yeah, I don't. This movie. So the other problem is characters don't have consistent characterization from one scene to another. Like everything they do is like because the plot sort of wants it to happen, but there's like no motivation, and as soon as that happens, it has no impact. Like there's a scene where Doctor Doom is like Reed telling Reed to stay away from Sue because he has a crush on her that is not reciprocated, I guess. It's like they have a history, but there's no it never gets explained what that is. And Reed is like, "What? I'm oblivious to this." And that's it. There doesn't come back in any way. There's no like build up of one thing upon another. There's just thing and then thing and then thing happens.
So all the problems really are with the writing room or whatever. Like maybe too many writers. Like they put a whole bunch of different like lines into a bag or something, or like pages or something, and then kind of put them all together from different people.
Yeah, it feels like 5 half movies because there are like setups for what this plot could be, but no payoff or anything.
Right.
And from what I've heard, it actually was this, like, the studio got afraid of what the director, like how the director was running things, and like sort of took the movie away from, like, the ending of this movie isn't how he wanted to end it. It's what the studio decided, which sort of makes sense because it's thematically the same as Fantastic Four 2, which doesn't fit for the tone of this movie at all. There's also a part in this movie where Reed literally just disappears for a year, and then they start working as, like, military for the government, and, like, the thing is fighting insurgents. And then they bring him back, and it's like, yeah. So there's a thing in this movie where, for the plot to make sense, the government has to be evil. Like, for the way they're acting, like, working for the government, it clearly has to be a bad thing. The government never does anything evil. Like, there's not even a character that's, like, associated with the government in the movie to hate.
There's like no evil character.
The closest thing is the CEO of the Baxter Company, who's like, we should work with the government. Like, there's actually no government character. The evil in the movie is Doctor Doom. So they also totally scrub out any personality of the actual Doctor Doom character. Doctor Doom in this gets transformed by this weird other dimensional planet. Then they bring him back to, like, to rescue him, and then he goes crazy and says, "The world sucks, humans suck, I want to kill everyone."
Okay, sure. Why not?
And then he opens a giant vortex to suck in everything in, because every comic book movie has to have a thing with a vortex that wants to suck everything in, like Avengers and the last Fantastic Four movie.
Guardians of the Galaxy kind of had something like that too.
Yep. Like, that's, it's like robots and big portals that want to suck everything in. It's like very common in comic book movies for whatever reason.
Because the movies suck.
Yeah. So, like, this movie has less personality than those older those Tim Story Fantastic Four movies. No one is having any fun in this movie. There's, like, no.
This sounds bad.
There's no room for any actor to actually give a good performance, even if they're a good actor. The script is so bad.
Are there good actors?
Michael B. Jordan is a good actor.
Is he in this?
He plays the Human Torch.
Ah, okay.
He's the best actor in this movie, I would say. But, you know, he's given nothing to do. And really, the best part of those Tim Story movies was also Chris Evans playing the Human Torch. So, like, when you're weighing these movies against each other, that also doesn't give you a win, really. Because he at least had room to have fun.
Who the hell is Miles Teller? Oh, this fucker. The Whiplash guy.
Oh, he was in Whiplash?
Yeah, he's the main guy in it.
Huh. Apparently, he's like a piece of shit in real life.
It comes across in everything I've seen him in. So.
Yeah, like that. Like, when I was looking for reviews of this movie, like, all the people wanted to talk about was, like, this interview with Miles Teller. Like, they really had no interest in actually talking about this movie. They're just like, yeah, that movie was a piece of shit. Let's talk about this Miles Teller interview.
I'm just seeing who else. Who's Jamie Bell? I don't know who this is at all. All right.
It doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter? He's playing, like, the face for Fantastic Four. He's playing the, like, recognizable dude. Because everyone else is just a human with a power. He's playing the face. The thing. Whatever. Like, you know what I mean.
Yeah. But, I mean, when he's a thing, he's just CG.
And who's
he's not, like,
Toby Kebbell?
What I'm saying is, the actors are given no room to act, so it doesn't actually matter who human beings who were in this thing.
Yeah.
Because whatever they could have done, they were not allowed to do because of how bad the script was and how much it was, like, cut and torn apart.
Oh, wow. Homer Simpson's in this movie.
Yes, he plays their, like, Mr. Fantastic's high school teacher and then judge of the science fair years later. saying the same shit. Like teleportation is you're crazy. You're wasting your time. Caring about science. Who cares about science?
And Tim from Tim and Eric is in this. What are they doing with this casting? This is weird. All right. Anyways, movie sucks. Cool.
Movie sucks. There is no reason to see it. It may still get a sequel.
Why?
Because Fox has to keep making Fantastic Four movies. They're committed to this death pact.
I mean, the biggest shame is that I wanted them to have a redo to do like a good Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah,
but now I have no faith. They had their chance.
You have to settle for The Incredibles. This is a good Fantastic Four movie.
We should just move on. I'm getting depressed. Incredibles was fine. That's not why I'm depressed. I'm just depressed because they've had so many opportunities to make Fantastic Four decent.
Yeah. And there's nothing about like theoretically the choices that would have made of making this a darker, like focusing on the monstrous part of getting powers like that. They could have made a good movie with that. But this movie has so many fucking problems beyond tackling how they were gonna bring about the Fantastic Four that it's like not worth talking about.
Yeah.
So I saw Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F.
Is it great?
It's fun. This is a dumb fun movie.
What is it? Like what takes place in it?
So the character Frieza, who's sort of the most recognizable villain from Dragon Ball Z, so big part of Dragon Ball Z is people getting wished back from the dead. Like that happens all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Dragon Balls, that's for wishing people back. So he gets wished back from the dead, basically. And then he's like, I am going to train for the first time in my life. Like he's super strong, but it was all innate talent. He never tried to be good at fighting ever. So then he trains and he gets super strong, super quickly. And comes
Go figure.
to kill Goku and everyone on Earth. But he loses. Like it turns out Goku and Vegeta are actually stronger than him. So eventually they show up and beat him. It's just a fun action thing. Like he has like an army of people. All like a bunch of the Z fighter characters get to fight. Big dumb action.
Is there filler?
No.
Okay.
Well, there's not. There's the fun kind of filler where there's like
okay. Yeah, that's not the type of filler I was talking about.
It's not like it's not. They don't spend 30 minutes powering up. Like the movie is pretty short. The movie is like 80 minutes or something.
Fun time though.
Yep,
you actually got to go see it.
Got
was
to
it
see
packed?
it with like a full packed house. Fun times having people react to stuff. It was all good. It was all good. The new there was one movie before this that was also like where they brought in like the first time they brought back the original manga creator who's like Dragon Ball started as like a gag manga, like it was comedy and then turned into what it turned into. So bringing him back made it more fun again, whereas it had gotten really terrible when they did GT. And this sort of erases that season he had nothing to do with. And so then they started telling this new story, and the new series, Dragon Ball Super, that is now airing in Japan, is going to start by retelling these two movies and then move on to new stuff, I guess.
Okay.
So this story is going to be like retold in however many episodes they spend to retell it.
I forgot to bring up, I've been watching Food Wars, by the way. Like a lot of it. It's really good.
It's so good.
It's really good.
Like, it's orgasmically good.
Like after the first episode, we just like watched 7 in a row that night, and then I was like, I work in the morning, so we went to bed after that.
Yeah, it is. You just want to keep watching that when you watch it.
It's really, really good. Like, yeah, I haven't felt that way about an anime for a while.
Their visual metaphors are the fucking best.
They're really good.
So good.
Like I can't remember what was going on, but like this like taste of spring or whatever, or the honey in the thing, and it's just like in the meat, And like the
Yeah.
bees, there's just like bees of his
all-
face and
They all
stuff.
have his face. They're pouring
It's
honey on people.
it's really good.
I
Yeah.
love how it's like we're going to sexually exploit everyone. There's, like it's just, yeah,
Yeah. It's really good.
it's really funny.
I just had to bring that up that there actually is an anime I'm watching regularly now. So,
Yeah.
it's a pretty big step.
Yeah, I finally fully caught up with it this past week. Although I think there's like an episode I haven't seen, but
What are they up to, 19 or 20 now?
like I'm not even sure, but yeah, something like that.
Because they were at 17 when I started watching it, and I'm just a little bit behind that now. So,
Okay.
one more session, I should be able to catch up.
Nice. So they sort of finished the first big arc from what I've seen.
Alright, cool. And, like, the first thing I did after I was done for the night, just, like, watching a bunch of them, I went on to Tumblr to see, like, any cool fan art I could find, and then found a bunch of, like, gross stuff and then logged off.
Yeah, I'm sure. That show walks a line really well.
It does.
Like, confidence.
It's like fan servicey, but like it fits and it's classy in a way. Like it's a dumb,
Yeah.
silly fan servicey thing.
It is as classy as implied tentacle rape can be, I guess. Even though it's not actual, it's just eating bad food. But
Yeah, I mean he has to stop fucking around with squid so this tentacle rape analogy stop because that's the most uncomfortable part. Stop
Yeah.
putting peanut butter on the fucking squid, asshole.
he stops with that for the most part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's always a new thing he puts on that fucking squid, basically. I do like that, like, I think it's the second episode, or maybe when he goes to the school for the first time, he's just, like, has the piece in his mouth like a toothpick.
Yeah.
Like the tentacle. It's pretty great.
So when I first watched it, I was like, man, this show is great. I just hope they can get a bunch of awesome other like secondary characters that are super entertaining too.
They totally do.
They totally did.
Yeah. Yeah,
Great.
they do.
Like that was like when I first saw it, I was like, this show's gonna be great. It just has to do this one thing. And they did the one thing. It's like, yes. Visual metaphors continue to be amazing.
I want to talk to you off air about a theory I have with that show.
All right.
I just don't like want to air it or whatever. Like, yeah, you know what? Let's just move on. Let's talk about Shaun the Sheep, the movie.
Shaun the Sheep, the movie. So this is from the guy who does the Wallace and Gromit stuff.
Yep.
So it has that same spirit. I guess it's based on a TV show that I've never really watched. It's a spin-off of Wallace and Gromit, based on the sheep character. There's no dialogue in it. It's all like slapstick humor and buying and stuff. Like the humans talk, but it's all garbage because the sheep can't understand them. So why should you?
Yeah.
So it's just cool. It's just like a fun, charming kids movie that is interesting because it doesn't have any dialogue and all has to rely on its visual stuff, which is great handcrafted stop motion stuff. Like it just looks cool. It's just fun and charming and not very long.
How long?
Again, it's like 80 minutes or something.
So, like, not even
85.
an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's like something like that around there. It's like 10 minutes longer, I think, than Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F, I think.
This seems like something I would watch on Netflix when it comes out on it. Or, like, a home pro. Like, this is not something I care to see in a theater. And shell out a, like, $16 ticket for myself.
Yeah, fair enough. It's just a charming little thing.
Okay. Just like The Gift.
No.
You really hate The Gift.
I really fucking hate this movie. I fucking hate this. So this is a movie that's fucking terrible. That's all expositional dialogue. That doesn't have the excuse of being torn apart by a studio because it's like clearly this writer-director's vision. Like, it just makes me hate it that much more. Like,
It's very highly rated, though.
it's super highly rated. I don't fucking get, but like it's a thriller that's not scary. I don't care about anything. So this is a movie that's mostly conversational based of like people having of like being sort of tense, like frustrated, and then it's full of jump scares. I got
Okay.
really fucking sick of this movie's jump scares because they're like super obvious that they're coming. Because everything in this fucking movie is super obvious. I had this movie figured out when I watched the trailer. Like, I knew everything that was going to happen in this movie in the trailer. And because people said it was really good, I assumed there was more to it. That, like, I didn't see the full picture. Nope. I saw the full picture. People are apparently idiots. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I could have told you that.
But yeah, it's like not tense. People are douchebags and I don't like any of them.
It's
This
annoying, though.
movie-
The dude who does it has done good shit. So, like, I don't know. It's kind of weird that...
This movie is super misogynistic.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like, it's all about making the wife character suffer, and it's sort of you're seeing things from her perspective until the last third when it switches to what's his face from Arrested Development, his character, and then it's actually about him and what all this does to affect him.
I see.
Like, there's a I mean, I could say it, but it'd be a spoiler of the thing that's super misogynistic. Like, super misogynistic.
Should we just say slight spoiler? Like, skip ahead a minute or two?
Yeah.
Okay. Slight spoiler, mute, or whatever, if you don't want to hear it live, or skip ahead a minute.
So it's set up where the villain of this movie makes it so the wife character, he may or may not have raped her, so that their son may or may not be the main dude's son.
Okay.
And that's only to make him suffer. Like, she never finds out about it. He doesn't tell her. The movie doesn't care about her. It cares about him, that she was raped. Like, how it affects him.
That's kind of weird.
That's misogynist. That's misogyny.
That's actually a weird way to do that. Like, I don't think I've ever heard of a film do it that way.
It's fucked up. And like most of the movie, it's like the movie, like, theoretically, thematically, it wants to be about how your past can come back to bite you, because he was a bully in the past to this guy, which is why the guy's coming after him. But the movie isn't like confident enough in that, so it has to still make him a jerk in the present. It's like, really, the stuff that happens to him is like the past doesn't matter. It's the stuff that ruins his life is stuff he does in the present, being a jerk.
Huh. Okay.
Like, it's stupid. And it's annoying. Like, the movie is really annoying with its jump scare bullshit. It's not scary. It's not tense. It does this weird thing where it expositionally tells you that the main character is scared of monkeys. But there's nothing in the performance where he feels scared of monkeys. He just sees the villain starts putting monkey stuff around, and he's like, oh, he's like slightly uncomfortable around it. But it's like a thing. Like, at the end of the movie, he's wearing a monkey mask. Like, it's a thing, but it's not a thing, because who fucking cares? Like, there's no emotional investment. We're just sort of told that this matters early in the movie.
Okay, so let's play devil's advocate here for a second.
Okay.
Why do people like it? What is good about it that people latched on maybe a little bit too much on?
Other people found it tense, from what I understand.
Okay.
Other people didn't see the twist coming, which I saw it coming from the trailer.
Okay. I haven't actually seen the trailer, so...
Yeah. But I had, like, the whole plot, I had it figured out beforehand, and apparently other people didn't. And they found it tense. They found, like, the way it built tension engaging, from what I have tried to glean from people who liked it. There are, like, a couple reviews that, like, totally shit on it, and I totally agree with. But, like, this movie got super good reviews.
Yeah, like, really, like...
Yeah.
I think Rotten Tomatoes has it at, like, 87 or something. Mm-hmm. That's insane.
Its Metacritic is lower than that, but I don't remember what it is.
All right. Well, either way, this
Yeah.
this was never anything that caught my eye anyway, so I don't really care.
Yeah, it's at like a 62 on Metacritic. Um, yeah, no, it the thing was the trailer it didn't catch my eye. It was the positive reviews this was getting that made me catch my eye and take notice. Like, oh, maybe there's something to this thing.
Oh, so you feel like you were bamboozled by people that are wrong?
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah, kind of. But also, I really fucking hate it. Like, it's really bad. Like it. Oh,
Did you at least go into it with an open mind?
yeah, totally. I thought it was gonna be good.
Oh, okay. Well, that's too bad then. That sucks.
Yeah.
What about Cop Car? What about Kevin Bacon?
I like Cop Car. So Cop Car is like, so we could have this like kids adventure movie of these two kids. They run away from home and they steal a cop car and have wacky adventures. But let's make it R-rated, so they're cursing all the time and there's a dead body in the back. And Kevin Bacon is in it and it's fucking bloody and there's murder. Yeah. Let's make that movie.
That sounds fine, I guess.
Yeah. It's fun.
Is it like a coming of age sort of story, or like what?
Not really.
Okay.
It's also just a thriller. Like
Okay.
the movie opens with two kids walking through like a barren wasteland, practicing cursing because they've run away from home. So one of them will say a curse word, and the other one then repeats it. It's just funny. And then, so it's sort of like it's minimalistic in ways. Like it's not a great movie, but it's just funny that it's like has all this like these like 9-year-olds going on adventure and like they find this cop car and they're like scared of it and then they like run up to it and touch it and then run away and they like get more and more emboldened and like dealing with it and then they eventually drive away with it and then Kevin Bacon comes and then you get a scene of like earlier when Kevin Bacon drove it up, dragged a dead body out of the back and then went to go bury it. It's like
So
and then there's like another body in the back that they eventually let out, and that dude is like all fucked up, bloody, because Kevin Bacon beat him, and he's mad.
is this like a training day? Like, is Kevin Bacon just like a dirty cop?
So like the movie doesn't feel like it needs to explain anything. Like he's clearly a bad cop, but
Okay.
I have no fucking clue what he did. Like there's this is a movie that feels like it doesn't need to tell you shit because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what Kevin Bacon did, other than that he put these two dudes in his truck, and he was going to bury them. And he's a cop, so he probably shouldn't be doing that. These guys seem like bad dudes too, but who knows? They certainly want to kill Kevin Bacon, or the one dude that's still alive.
Yeah, makes sense.
But then there's also a scene of like a woman, older woman sees these kids driving this car, so she goes to the police, but then they all make fun of her, so she gets all mad and she finds them and just starts yelling at them.
What?
Because it's a kid, like that part of the movie that's sort of like a kid's movie, even though it's an R-rated movie.
So is it like a comedy then? Like it doesn't take itself seriously?
I mean, it's like a comedy the way like thrillers that I like are a comedy. It's like ridiculous.
Oh, okay. It's not like they're not telling jokes then. It's just a silly situation.
Yeah. There are shenanigans, but it's also like super grim and people get shot and murdered. It's very bloody and when it wants to be.
Okay.
This is a weird thing. Like it's similar to White God in that way, in that like it feels like they took two movies. They're like, we want to make this kids movie, but let's make an R-rated thing that's super bloody and gory too.
That sounds fine, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like this is weird. I like it. It's like an entertaining kind of weird being moved. I see. I get frustrated with a movie like Fantastic Four that's like 5 movies because there's a part of me that likes a movie that's like multiple movies, like genre blending. I really like that stuff, and when you fuck it up entirely, I get kind of annoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Cop Car was okay.
What
Kevin
about
Bacon's good?
What about Dope? I want to know about Dope.
So Dope is okay.
It looks like it could be fun.
It's fun. My biggest complaint with it is like the main character is kind of just too perfect. Like he doesn't really have character flaws except he's horny.
Isn't that kind of supposed to be part of like the fun though?
Yeah,
Because he's supposed
it
to
just
be like I don't know what the word for it is. Like I don't know, like not part of this world he's in or like going into.
he's a geek. Like the movie frames it
A
as
geek. Okay.
these characters are geeks.
Okay.
They're 90s hip hop nerds. They're super into 90s hip hop culture.
Who isn't? That shit's great.
Dressing like people from the 90s in hip hop.
Okay, that's too far.
Like they go that far with it. They're in a punk band. They're also weird because they live in the ghetto, but they're super good students. They're gonna go to college, and then they get involved in. They end up at a drug dealer's birthday party and end up with a shit ton of Molly and a gun in his backpack. So shenanigans.
You know, regular things.
Yeah. So then he has to, like, then that starts a wild adventure where things happen. That's fun.
Is that adventure worth following? Like, is a movie just at least watchable or something? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's fine. Like there are people who really like this movie. I just thought it was pretty good. Like it was entertaining. I liked it. It has good music attached to it. It's a little on the nose in parts, and he's a little too perfect for it to be like a great movie, which this is a movie I'd kind of heard was a great movie. I think it's just a pretty good movie.
what type of 90s
It's not very challenging.
hip hop do they like?
Kind of all over the place.
Do they like NWA?
There's no NWA in this movie, I don't think.
Okay, so it's not like
There is-
rap. It is, in fact, like hip hop from the 90s. Like the,
Uh,
not the like ghetto gangster rap stuff.
okay, I'm trying to remember what some of the actual songs were, but I don't. There is Public Enemy is in it.
Okay.
Tribe Called Quest, Digital Under, Humpty Dance is in it.
All right.
It's kind of all over the place. Like, there's a scene where he's talking about what music he liked, and he literally lists a song from the late '80s and a song from the early 2000s, just because he's like a kid, so but he just sort of thinks of it as emblematic of that kind of music.
We got some naughty by nature by
gets-
the looks of it in here.
He gets called out on that, but yeah,
You got some Nas in here. Nice.
yes,
Got
there's
Freak on a Leash by Korn, apparently. That's odd.
It's yeah, like they're not coming at it from the angle of like growing up there. They're coming at it from like being nerds about past music. So it's a weird mismatch.
Okay. So this isn't actually set in the 90s then.
No, it is set in present day.
Okay. That's kind of what I was a little confused about.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's fine.
Yep.
Speaking of 90s, you saw Straight Outta Compton, and I do want to see it. Should I go see it?
So if you really like NWA,
What do you mean by really like? I think their story is interesting.
so my problem with this movie is it's very much like an easily consumable kind of riddled with the cliches of biopics version of the NWA story.
How do you mean?
So, like, it has a scene where Dr. Dre's mom is yelling at him because this DJ thing clearly isn't going to get him anywhere, and he should get a real job. But he knows that he's going to make it big, so he moves out. Like just cliche setup stuff that doesn't really build anywhere, and you know they're going to be successful. So it's like the movie doesn't care. It's also very much just moment by moment stuff of their lives. Like the movie doesn't really have anything to say about NWA. It's not really building to anything. It's just like this is a thing that happened to them, and then this thing happened to them, and then this thing happened to them, And then Eazy-E died of AIDS. The end.
That is kind of the end, though, for their story, honestly.
Yeah.
Does it talk about Ice Cube becoming the "Are we there yet" guy?
So,
because that's the funniest part of NWA.
The weird part
for
about
me.
that is like, so there's a scene where he goes into his when he's set up his own thing and broken away, but he's still getting screwed on the money end. He goes into like the record guy's office and starts smashing shit with a baseball bat. And it's like, I want a contract and I want my money. And then like 2 scenes later, he's writing Friday with like his family. And
Wait, what?
He's all chill. Like the movie is like boop 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 through lives. Like there's so much material to cover. It has to move pretty quickly.
So, okay. This is kind of not what I was expecting. So, it sounds like it almost takes bullet points of like their whole career and fits it all together. I thought it was just like it would cut to where like the time when they release basically like Fuck the Police and all that stuff and actually become just, like the controversy around it and then being like, well, this is like our life and stuff like that and blah blah blah, and just focus more on the like actual rise of the group and not so much just like going through bullet points of shit they did.
It's more bullet points shit they did.
That's like not what I want.
Yeah, no, like so like the movie, so like NWA's story is I think super interesting, and there's like the thing is you get that story entirely by just listening to the songs Fuck the Police and No Vaseline. Like,
yeah,
everything that's interesting about that movie is in those 2 songs, and just knowing about those 2 songs, that's like the most interesting thing. But the movie doesn't. It just presents those 2 songs and then like moves on because it and like weighs all this other stuff in their lives equally, which is not that great. Like there's a lot of scenes of people sitting around like all they do with No Vaseline is Ice Cube writes it, and then you see them NWA sitting around listening to it, although not Dr. Dre for some reason, getting sort of mad, although or some of them think it's funny. Like it was a frustrating movie because it's just bullet points. Like it's the Cliff Notes version of their lives, really. And like Fuck the Police is like fucking a super relevant song today. Like that's like a super that's still going on. It's super fucked up. It could have been relevant. You could make a whole movie around that. That's like they spend like 20 minutes of the movie on that. And like the big part of that scene is like the police telling them you can't play this song in Detroit, which leads to the Detroit riot thing. But that scene of like the police telling an artist they can't play a song is in the Madonna documentary, like telling her she can't touch herself. Like I've seen that scene in a movie before.
Weird.
That wasn't racially motivated, of like just the police being weirdly moral authorities. Although that performance, she was totally like fucking the audience in her mind. She's like on a bed riding herself, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's a fucked up thing of the police trying to be moral authorities over music. It's a thing that happened apparently. But there's no there's like nothing like, yeah, that's a thing that happened. Okay, there's like, it doesn't put that together with anything. It has nothing to say about that. It's also, and then because it's just a series of bullet points, you're like looking at this and you're like, well, why are you then skipping over Dr. Dre kind of being abusive to women? Like there's literally a scene where it's like veering close to that, where that could have happened, and then you feel like another writer come in and grab it and like turn this tone of the scene 180 degrees, where he's just sort of, instead of being aggressive about sex, he's pursuing her to move in with him because he's, going to be a great family man. Like that's weird.
Do they focus at all on MC Ren? Because like nothing does. Everything when it comes to NWA, it always focuses on Eazy-E, Ice Cube, and sometimes, if they can fit it in, Dr. Dre. They never focus on DJ Yella or MC Ren, ever. So does this?
Nope. This
Yeah.
movie could give a shit about this too.
Okay, yeah, because like even in real life, they are kind of the people you never gave a shit about, honestly.
Yeah, they're like Eazy-E's sidekicks.
Well,
by the
that's
end
kind of
the
the
movie.
thing, because like even in real life, NWA was always Dre doing the beats, Eazy-E being like basically the front man, and Ice Cube being the enforcer. Like that's the way they're always painted. The other two are just kind of living in the shadows, so it's kind of sad to hear that they still are.
I mean, the weird part of it is like Eazy-E was like the most real. He was the one who was actually like a drug dealer and dealt with shit.
Yeah, that dude's fucked, man. He was
whereas
fucked up.
Ice Cube just saw shit and mostly was just a kid who wrote stuff.
Yeah.
Like, his talent, the reason he's kind of the most interesting to me because he's sees that they're getting screwed immediately and is like the writer, and the writer of this music is always the most interesting to me because they're the one fucking writing it. Like,
Yeah,
that's came from them. And also, No Vaseline is hilarious.
sure. Yeah.
Also, Ice Cube's kid plays him like kind of scarily well.
But like, of course, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's in the blood.
Yeah, but like he's a better actor than Ice Cube, honestly.
But that's
He has
not
more
a
emotional
hard
range.
thing.
No, Ice Cube has no emotional range as an actor. But yeah, it's just sort of weird seeing like, wow, your son is playing you better than you could play yourself, and he really looks like you.
He does. It's like I remember
Like-
seeing the casting picture or whatever somebody
Yeah.
did on the internet where it's like the actual dude from that time period and who they have acting him now.
Yeah.
And you can't tell which one. The only way you can tell which one was the old picture and who's the new one is because of the quality of the actual picture.
Yeah.
It's
The other-
scary.
The other thing is like over the course of the movie, many years, like he physically looks different in
Yeah.
like the way that his dad would have looked different. Like,
That's really, really weird.
yeah. But so his performance is good, but like that doesn't save the movie.
Yeah. I guess what I want is basically what you were describing with Best of Enemies, kind of.
Yeah, like it made
For
me
this.
want to watch like a serious documentary about NWA instead of this movie.
With like
That's
clips like from them being arrested or stuff back in the day, like old police
Yeah.
clips or like clips of them talking or like concert footage. Like that's
And I wanted-
what I actually want.
And I like want it to be about their work and like the impact of it. I don't like just bullet points of stuff that happened through their lives is less interesting.
Yeah, because it's stuff that like happens through everybody's life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's not
Well,
interesting.
They became super rich slightly slower than they should have because they got dicked around on business stuff. Like they got screwed over, but they still became super rich anyway.
Yeah.
Woohoo! And then Eazy-E died of AIDS. And wasn't that sad?
He did die of AIDS.
He did die of AIDS.
To be fair, he kind of was bringing that upon himself.
He fucked a lot of women.
He was self-destructive in a crazy way. So, yeah. It's almost hard to feel bad, right? Like, of course, they all feel bad because they knew him and they were his friend and stuff.
Yeah.
But from the outside, it's just like, well, he was a whore and a drug dealer. Like, of course he died of AIDS.
Yeah, it's like tragic because like there wasn't good public understanding of AIDS.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, he was leading a super self-destructive lifestyle.
Is this worth seeing? Would you say? Like, I don't mean ever. I mean in theaters.
I would say no, personally.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like I would say listen to some NWA instead. Like the whole strength of that kind of it's reality rap. Like they were rapping their reality. It's in the music, this story. Like it's there.
Yeah.
The reason Ice Cube like could transition so well to do family comedies is because that's how his life changed. He became rich and famous and didn't live in the ghetto anymore and like had a family. So of course he made comedies, family based. That's what his life was.
He did that song "Fuck Dying" though, with Korn.
Sure.
That song's ridiculous. It's so fucking ridiculous. That album is actually kind of great. His what the fuck is it? I think it was just called War and Peace. It was like a two-sider. Anyways, it's like regardless of that.
Yeah.
Everybody should pick up Straight Outta Compton and like the actual CD and listen to it because it's actually really good. And it's like you were saying, the worst part about it is that it holds up today lyrically.
Yes.
So like that's really bad. But whatever.
Fuck the Police is incredibly relevant right now. Like
they have the authority to kill a minority.
What the fuck? It was also like it's incredible. Like they were ahead of the curve of public consciousness about that stuff, as far as like white America was concerned. Like the general public, like was super dumb and ignorant about how fucked up black communities were and how fucked up the police were. Like it's really only even like Rodney King kind of shit didn't really make people aware the way like it's happening now that people are still kind of ignoring, but it's happening right now. Super relevant.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It shouldn't
like,
be.
That's the thing that no, it shouldn't be at all. But my thing
it shouldn't have been back then either, though.
Nope. Never should be like that. The thing is, I think that work deserved a much better movie than this movie.
Okay.
Like it's my biggest thing is I think NWA is great enough. They deserved a fucking great movie, and they got an average biopic kind of thing.
That's really too bad. You know who deserves an average biopic sort of thing is 50 Cent, and that's exactly what he got. NWA deserves more than 50 Cent. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
Like 50 Cent is the dude who, when you think who in rap deserves a kind of mediocre, lame biopic of themselves, he is the dude. Like he is that dude that deserves that.
He is a lame, mediocre dude. He deserves a lame, mediocre movie.
Well, it's just that like he was a flash in the pan success, kind of. So like if you want to show like a mediocre version of a rapper's life, there you go. Because he had an interesting story, but not really.
Yeah.
He had an interesting thing happen to him, not story, I should say.
Yeah, and he's like a super bland person.
He's a very bland person. And he declared bankruptcy.
That makes sense.
Does it? Does it make sense when you sell out your shares of a company to Coke that you declare bankruptcy?
Yeah, it would make sense that he would be a big enough idiot to squander all his money.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
Like, based on his background. Yeah, I totally buy that.
You know what the worst part about hearing that he declared bankruptcy like a couple weeks ago was I was just tallying in my head how many people are going to make the obvious joke of 50 Cent no longer has like 50 cents to his name or whatever. And then I go on the internet, sure enough, every fucking outlet that reported on it made that pun somehow. Everyone, nobody's big enough to go past it. Anyways,
it's the real tragedy is that he can't get that skull. It's the real tragedy.
That game's so good. The 50 Cent games are actually fantastic in a weird way. And by actually fantastic, I think I mean Blood on the Sand was the one I'm talking about, not the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Gears of War clone.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. With,
like, you getting more point multipliers by taunting the person you are shanking. I'ma kill you and your whole motherfucking generation. That's a line from that game. Anyways. American Ultra. I don't think I even know what this is.
So, this is from the writer of Chronicle, whereas Fantastic Four was from the director of Chronicle.
Okay.
And I kind of want to give more credit to Chronicle to the writer now, because this is a better movie.
Okay.
So it's like if Jason Bourne were a complete stoner who had forgotten everything. And it's starring
Okay.
Jesse Eisenberg and what's her name from
Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart from the Twilight movies, and also from more importantly to me, Adventureland, which she was also in with Jesse Eisenberg.
Yep.
Which I think is a good movie.
It actually is. More importantly, though, John Leguizamo apparently is in this movie, so I'm in.
Yes, he plays the drug dealer for
God
Jesse
damn
Eisenberg.
it. Of course. Of course he does.
He also is only in really like the first half.
Oh, gross. Topher Grace is in it, though. Never mind.
Topher Grace is the villain.
I'm
so
out.
You're at least supposed to hate him.
Well, I do, so...
He's a terrible... Like, he's just playing a monster. He's bad at his job.
Yeah.
Like, he's running a super secret, like, Jason Bourne weapons program, but he's using mentally... all the people they've used in it are from an insane asylum. So, like, he sends in these two guys on this covert mission, and they fucking blow up a police station trying to get Jesse Eisenberg. Like, they're, like, super over-the-top and cartoonish and crazy. And the movie is just... It's just kind of charming. Like, I think Kristen Stewart... She's a good actress when she's not working with literally the worst material in the world. Which is Breaking Dawn Part 1. That is one of the worst movies ever. I watched that movie and I started looking at the wall and the paint on the wall because that was more interesting than that movie.
I didn't bother seeing any of those. I'm just not interested.
Breaking Dawn Part 2 was actually a funny bad movie, though. Oddly enough.
I heard they're all kind of funny bad.
Breaking Dawn Part 1 is just fucking boring as fuck. There are like 3 scenes in that movie that just go on forever. Like, there's a wedding, they fuck, and then they sit in a house. That's
kind of like real life.
I mean, there are also hilarious CG wolves talking to each other without their mouth, like telepathically, but whatever.
Also like real life.
Exactly.
But American Ultra, it's worth watching, or
if you want to watch a stoner action comedy thing, I guess.
That doesn't exactly sound great, honestly.
It depends on your patience for that kind of stuff. It's good. I liked it. It had a charm to it that made it work. It's not like I think everyone should see it or you should rush. Like, I kind of don't have anything to say about it. That's why I didn't write a review of this one. Like, I really have little to say. I just enjoyed it okay. Mm-hmm. It was a good time at the movie. It's pretty forgettable.
Okay. So it's going to be one of those movies that when you think, what are the best things I saw this year, you're going to have to, like, actually make a list because you won't remember this at all.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already not in the top 10 movies I've seen this year.
Right.
I would say. But
is Straight Outta Compton?
No.
Is any movie on this list here from what you watched, like that we talked about?
End of the Tour is probably on my top 10 right now. Yeah. I like that.
And Fantastic Four, obviously.
Fantastic Four is second bottom. The Gift is the absolute bottom.
So, like, we have a top 10 list worth of movies here, just in the opposite direction. Top 10 worst.
Most of these movies I just thought, like, they're, like, middle of my list kind of stuff. They were entertaining, but they're not, like, these aren't movies that are going to stick with me. And I feel like there are a bunch of movies coming out at the end of the year that are going to make my lists, so...
How excited are you for the conclusion of Hunger Games?
So, I had actually forgotten that the third movie had come out and that I had seen it until I was watching the trailer for the new... Like, I thought the third one was the one coming out. I was like, oh, right, the third one happened, and I watched it.
I haven't seen it yet, because I'm going to watch it before going to see the last part.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I figure it'll be more cohesive in my mind that way.
Yeah, fair enough. I like those movies, okay? They're good.
I'm kind of excited to see the end of it. I'm ready for it to end.
Yeah. So the movies I'm super stoked for, I'm stoked for Spectre. Spectre looks really good from the trailers. New James Bond. I want to see the movie, the Jennifer Lawrence movie. I actually want to see. I have no fucking clue what it's about or anything, but it's like from the team of American Hustle. Like that director made a new movie starring her. So I want to see that.
What is it called?
Joy, which is her character's name.
Okay.
There's a new movie from the director of The Prisoners, starring Emily Blunt.
Okay.
About cops going in Mexican drug cartel shit.
It doesn't matter what it's about.
Dark.
I'm in.
Yeah.
You said the magic word.
Like Emily Blunt gets to star in a movie where she's a cop. She'll gets to have a shotgun.
Gonna be good.
Go into Mexican cartel drug tunnels.
There needs to be more movies about cartels. Cartels are like the actual scary enemy in real life.
Yep.
I think there is too much focus on like Afghans or Muslims or whatever you want to call them, like for the cliche terrorism. We got like war against terror thing. When everybody forgot that like if you just go south of Texas a little bit, you will probably be decapitated. There's way scarier people than extremists from one religion in this world. I think there needs to be more cartel shit because they're fucking gross and terrifying people.
Yep. That movie's called Sicario. What else? I am excited for Star Wars because,
of course, like whether or not I care about Star Wars as much as like a lot of people do or at all, it's like a milestone, like a landmark in the medium.
And like the part that gets me, whereas makes me ignore what the fuck happened with those prequel movies, is that they're using like practical effects stuff. Like just the look of it, like hits all my buttons in terms of using that stuff. So
right,
that happens. The new Quentin Tarantino movie, Hateful Eight, I'm also excited for.
Yeah, could be okay.
I like Tarantino movies. And there's probably other stuff will happen, but like those are movies I know that I'm excited for.
Yeah. So the last thing you have written down here is something I was looking at today.
Yeah.
BartKira.
BartKira. It's a fan project to redraw the entirety of the manga Akira, replacing the characters with Simpsons characters.
Yeah.
And it's like just a collaborative kind of project of just getting a bunch of different artists to draw parts of it. So like the styles will change radically from when you're reading through it. I've read the first 2 volumes fully, but I was reading them pretty briskly because I've read Akira before. I own all of Akira.
And it is exactly that.
It is exactly that, just with character names and stuff replaced for Simpsons stuff, and then Simpsons iconography stuff put in the drawings.
Is it pretty good?
It gets me. Like I really like it. It's really funny. I just like how straight it plays the joke.
Are you saying you're a fan of Simpsons?
Yes, I'm a fan of The Simpsons, and I'm a fan of Akira. I really like that comic. So I like it on both ends, and I also just appreciate that they're like playing the joke completely straight, because it's really just Akira.
Like they're not winking or anything.
Yeah,
no satire or comedy in the Simpsons world that this is happening. It is just Akira with those characters.
Yeah, with those characters' looks.
That trailer is great on that site too.
Yeah, they also redid the trailer for the movie.
At first, when I saw it, I was just like, did they just find like clips and fit it somehow for like the first little bit? And then there's like a part where Bart is just like skateboarding in the tunnel or whatever. It's just like, no, this is drawn. Like just straight up. This is a new thing.
Like some of it's drawn, some of it's like pulled and composited from
Yeah.
Simpsons, I think.
Yeah.
It's like there's a scene of like Flanders just getting shot a bunch.
Yeah, that scene also was just like, yeah, this is totally not from The Simpsons. I don't remember a time where Flanders was on his knees basically begging for his life while being filled with holes.
I really like that movie too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. It's still one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's
So I've
really
seen-
fucked up, though.
I've seen that in the theater, and like the big thing with that is like getting the sound in a good theater sound system. Fucking
That would be nice.
good. It's really good. Like it's like seeing it on a big screen, whatever. Seeing it with like a theater sound system is like the thing to me.
I'd love to see that in the theater. One day, maybe.
Yeah.
I think that's it, though.
Yeah.
We did it. We caught up.
Yay! We did it. Yes.
I understand now why you were just like, we should do something about this, because like the list just kept growing by like 2 or 3 movies every week.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, the first week we missed, I think I saw like 5 movies that week.
Like
'Cause,
up to Shaun the Sheep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I saw End of the Tour and Best of Enemies on my own during the week, and then on like the weekend, my friend was in town and we hadn't gone to see movies in a while, so we saw 3 movies. Because also we were
Right.
gonna see Fantastic Four. We're like, we have to see some other things to palate cleanse after we see that.
Yeah. Cool. I guess we'll just call it there, and thank you for listening. We'll be back next time.
Yep.
We'll try not to make it so long, I think.
Hopefully. Bye.
See ya.